Welcome to the Irrelevant Podcast. I'm Nathan Jones with my co-host Alex Lewis. We have a bonus episode for you guys this week. Now, episode 27. We are here with Rachel Ramsey. Rachel, Alex has brought you on as our wonderful guest today. So I am not well informed with your background. I didn't get a chance to do my research like I needed to. So why don't you just go ahead and tell these wonderful people who in the world is Rachel Ramsey?
Ooh, that's a big question.
Yes, loaded gun
Where do
right
I
off the bat.
start? Yeah. Well, my name is Rachel Ramsey. I'm currently living in the San Jose area in California. And yeah, I work as a personal trainer, worked in the health and fitness industry, kind of doing a little bit of everything, yoga, CrossFit, nutrition. And currently pursuing my master's in clinical psychology. So I love that mind-body idea and avenue of health. And yeah, I don't really know what else is important.
The most
Yeah.
most important question we have for you is: are you like everyone else, and do you enjoy living in California currently, in the current state?
Yeah, that's a good question. I I do. I'm not sure if Alex has told you, I might be making some moves, but I love the people here. I didn't really understand what the Seattle freeze meant until I moved here. And yeah, the people, I've met some amazing people. So
For those who don't know what the Seattle freeze is, what is the Seattle freeze?
from what I understand, it's the idea that because Seattle is so gray and cold and wet and rainy, the people are kind of like that. And I think I didn't have this experience, but from what I've heard, other people think that they can be a little fake. So they'll be like, yeah, let's hang out. And then it just never happened. So
is that where you moved from originally? Were you from Seattle originally?
yeah, I'm from just outside Seattle,
Okay,
a small town, like 2 hours outside. Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And then made the trip to San Jose. So you're working in clinical psychology. Is that how close are you to finishing that degree right now?
I'm like getting close to the 2/3 mark. So I'm almost 2/3 done
And it
of
makes you're
a
still
3-year program.
still committed. You're still committed because some people get
Yeah.
into that thing and they're like, no way, I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely overwhelming at times. I'm like, oh, but I want to try to blend the body with my work and not really sure what that's going to look like, but yeah, I feel good about the path I'm on. I obviously I don't feel like as someone getting into counseling that I'm meant to save everyone, and I feel like that really helps just to be like, you know, just to take that pressure off and be like, okay, I'll just help who I help and let the rest go.
Yeah, I salute you because I don't think that I could sit there and listen. Alex, you'd be a good counselor, don't you think?
Would I? You think?
You could sit there and listen to people's problems. That sounds like you.
I don't know. I
You
have a
kind of
pretty hard
already
time not
do.
interjecting.
You know, I used to joke that as a trainer, you're half trainer, half therapist, because it's true. You know everything about their personal lives, their relationships, their breakups, their
It's funny how people, and I'm okay with it. It's fine, but people like, it's a good thing, I think, if people understand that you're a relational person and they do want to tell you those things, because it means that hopefully you're doing a good part of your job. But sometimes you're just like, oh, okay, I don't know if you needed to tell me that, but
You want to know what the secret is?
actually give a
You just have to
crap.
listen. You just got to listen. You
Yeah.
don't even have to ask questions. You could ask like 2 or 3 questions, and if they're the right ones, people will just not shut the fuck up.
Sure. Yeah.
You're like, oh,
a
okay,
lot of
cool.
people just need someone to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been mainly your experience. Are you one of the? You're just a better listener than you are. Like like you said, you're not trying to solve everybody's problems, so you're a pretty good listener then.
I mean, I guess it depends who you ask.
So so you said you wanted to bring it over to the body experience. How do you want to connect clinical psychology to what you're doing now and your coaching as far as strength and conditioning is concerned?
Uh,
Uh-oh.
um,
Uh-oh.
um, You know, I don't know what that's going to look like yet. Because I don't really want to leave the fitness industry. I love it. And I have struggles with it, right? I work with a lot of people who want to lose weight, which is, great. I think everyone should feel comfortable in their bodies, but I've always found that people go through such extreme, or they're willing to go to such extreme lengths to lose weight, but it's super, it feels so disconnected from like their emotions, their mind, and yeah, you see people who are on these cycles of like super intense restriction and then weight gain and like all these things. And I've always just felt like in my own personal experience, my body has changed. Obviously, I put the work in, I go to the gym, all these things, but my body, and not only my body, but how I view myself, my confidence, all those things have improved, not with my body, but because of the other work I'm doing, like on myself, and being like, why do I have these thoughts about myself? And, I want to live a life that these thoughts aren't reoccurring or whatever. I believe it's possible to be healthy and fit and look good without being miserable and like being super extreme. And I just want everyone to find that. So a place where they feel good in their bodies, but also not where it's at the cost of their mental health, their emotions, their cortisol rising, and all of that. So yeah, there's a couple different kind of theories in psychology that I'm most interested in that relate more to the body. So kind of wanting to focus on those, like there's something called somatic therapy. Gestalt therapy is really interesting to me. I'm also really interested in like the mindfulness based approaches to therapy. And yeah, but what that tangibly is going to look like in terms of like what my career is going to look like, I don't know if I'm going to be like literally half a trainer, half a therapist, and like blending it together in one session. Yeah, all of that is to be determined.
You can just coach them in the gym and then have your office in your little room right next to it. And then so if they do their training, then they can just come into your office and do that side of the training as well. And you can charge them double.
Do them at the same time. That's what I do with clients.
Yeah,
almost
right.
90% of my sessions are me just examining their psyche and going, hey, do you ever think about this? All therapists do.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. I actually recently met, my concentration is in transpersonal psychology, which is kind of the study of transformation. And so I met this other transpersonal psychologist who actually tried to do that, where he would take them, he's also into fitness, he would take them through a workout and then he would try to do a counseling session with them. And he was like, it didn't work. And there was a lot of things he was like, maybe if I would have done it differently this way or whatever. But yeah, I really have no idea what that's going to look like.
Interesting. Is that like a focus thing, you think? Like people are so focused, they just want to train. They want to talk to you, obviously, but like,
I think it's a comfort thing.
Yeah.
I get people telling me shit I should not be told all the time. I'm like, where did this come from? And it's, well, because I just ask them about themselves all the time. Eventually, they're just crack open like an egg.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's got some stuff. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody has some stuff.
The FRC stuff, that'll unleash like a whole new level of fucking trauma that you don't expect at all. That shit's crazy. I'm talking about being like a therapist.
That stuff is cool. We've been doing that a little bit. And and the nervous system is kind of that bridge between the mind and the body. So as you're helping me kind of learn these new ranges of movement and whatnot, it is really interesting to like feel the subtlety of those movements. And I completely agree. I feel my nervous system. Oh, wow.
Wait till we find a spot where you're holding trauma. That'll be real fun.
Oh, get the tissues.
Oh, yeah. Like my body freaks the fuck out with my shoulder.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some other things. I did this diaphragm release exercise one time. I've been like having this like clicking sensation in my diaphragm that I'm finally working on. But for years it was there, and I tried to do this diaphragm release exercise that I just found on YouTube, and it was intense. I was crying. Like, it was a physical sensation, but it was very much emotional too.
Yeah, but you do crazy shit like Kundalini yoga that'll make you trip. So like I think you have a different insight to that than the average person. I don't think people understand what breathing can do for you as far as that stuff goes.
Yeah. yeah, there's so many of that, the mind body, you can do so much with your body that will impact your mental, emotional, spiritual well-being. Definitely is all connected.
So wait, what kind of yoga is that? Can you explain what that? I don't know
Oh man,
I don't know anything about the yoga thing. I'm not on the yoga field. Like we did yoga in college for baseball, but it was just like guys sliding in a video and it's like, here, follow along, do this every Wednesday night. So
Some vinyasa flow.
it was so terrible. Oh my lord, it was so bad. So
Yeah,
can you
I mean,
explain that?
yeah, I've had a long history with yoga. When I first started, actually, I hated it. I think it was partially, this sounds mean, but I feel like it was partially instructor. I didn't really like her. I didn't like yoga. And then I actually sprained my ankle like pretty badly. I was in Brazil and it was my first week there and I sprained my ankle, and this was like height of my CrossFit days. Like I was super obsessed, and that ankle sprain kind of changed the trajectory of like so many things. And there was a lot of other things happening at that time as well. But I started going to these yoga classes in Brazil. They were all in Portuguese. So I'm like, trying to like, keep one eye open. Like, what are we doing? And yeah, and then I don't really know how far deep into the rabbit hole to go.
All the
I
way down.
all the way down.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
going all the way down.
Oh,
That was the whole point of this. You thought I just brought you on here to fucking talk about dumb stuff? No,
yeah,
a
well, I
rabbit
knew
hole.
that you had asked me about like my plant medicine journey as well. So I was like, oh, this is going to be a deep rabbit hole. But while I was in Brazil, I started doing a really bunch of plant medicine. I minored in anthropology, and so when I got to Brazil, I was just really interested in like Brazilian culture and the shamanism that was there and everything. And I was taking a bunch of anthropology classes, and so did a project on plant medicine and just threw myself into it. And during one of my ceremonies, I was on this whole journey of like all these different visions, and then all of a sudden it kind of stopped and was like, do Kundalini yoga, and then kept going. And I was like, I'd done like some yoga at this point, but I didn't know specifically what Kundalini yoga was. Yeah, I took note of that, and I was like, okay. Fast forward a couple, 4 or 5 months, I am back in America, and I'm like, okay, let me just put on this YouTube Kundalini video. Which, if you Google Kundalini yoga, I feel like I don't know if you guys have Googled it, but there's a lot of information out there, and it's pretty scary. It's like you'll end up in the hospital and like, all this stuff. They
Can I
also,
interject for 1 second? Because Nathan knows nothing about what the fuck you're talking about.
I'm so lost right
okay,
now.
so this is so
He
new.
right now
I'm
is
listening very very intently, but I'm so lost.
That's what's gonna make this so great, is because Nathan has no fucking idea what you're talking
I can't
about.
wait.
Like you're gonna have to go back
You
and
know,
explain
the
plant
best
medicine
way-
and ceremonies and everything. But we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kundalini yoga, Nathan, is like the oldest form of yoga
Okay.
in the world.
like
It's
used
like
for,
the
I think,
original
royalty.
OG. Like this is what you would do when you would do yoga.
The
And back in the day, they would get super fucking high off a hash plant and get in these poses and hold them for like hours. And they would like trip their fucking faces off while doing yoga.
It's pretty intense. Like sometimes you're just holding things for so long. Like you'll hold your arms over your head for like 10 minutes. Do you know how hard it is to hold your arms over your head for 10 minutes?
Impossible.
And we're talking about the nervous system, you're just like shaking. Like, okay, just hold them up.
Whoa. So this isn't the American hot yoga we're talking about here.
No,
this is weird.
Like,
it's weird.
Okay.
It's weird. It's a little culty.
Like ancient Hindu shit.
It's a little culty, she says.
It is. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Traditionally,
I love
you wear all white and you actually wrap your head as well. And then of course there's that conversation. I kind of like, there's one guy on YouTube. If you Google it, they're like, don't do it on YouTube. You need an instructor. Like it's dangerous, all these things. I have never found that. I've had some pretty, I've had some pretty crazy experiences with it, but I've never, I don't know. I've never experienced it to be
Didn't meet the devil or anything yet. That's good.
Yeah. Right.
Now let's go rewind a little bit. When you say plant medicine, what the fuck are you talking about? Because most people like Nathan don't know what the fuck plant medicine even is.
I'm
Right,
in
Nathan?
I'm in Missouri. We don't know anything.
That's
Okay.
so funny.
Very ignorant.
I saw this really funny meme, and it was with Seth Rogen, and he's saying he has a shirt and it's like say no to drugs, and it's crossed out and it's like it's called plant medicine. But yeah, I mean there's definitely like that hallucinogenic effect too. A lot of them. When I was in Brazil, I was started doing ayahuasca, and that was part of my project. Was I had been curious about it for so long, and I went to Brazil, and I'm doing this project, and I was so nervous to do it because, like I said, that's another thing. You Google it, and it's like it's dangerous. Like,
Did you ask them how they learned how to make it?
yeah, these people actually there's two tribes that they were working with, so they would go to the Amazon and like learn from them. They would donate food to them. So like every ceremony, you can bring a food donation, and they'll bring it back to them.
Did you get to ask anyone in the tribe where they learned it?
I went to the Amazon, but I didn't like meet any of them at all.
Well, rumor has it the common answer is the
The
plants
plants
told them.
told them, yeah. I mean, I will say if I really
So
believe that there's like a higher intelligence there. I don't know if you've ever even done mushrooms, but um yeah, I feel like there really is an intelligence there.
So
Like
Nathan, what
guiding.
ayahuasca is they take
Yeah.
this bark and they take this plant, it's a root, and they mix them together and to make this fucking potion.
Mhm.
And ironically, what it does is we have this 5-MO this inhibitor in our body that when we eat plants normally, we can't absorb the DMT.
Mhm.
But somehow, some way, they figured out by mixing these two things in, gets rid of the inhibitor. So when you drink this shit, now you're getting full DMT from the plants. And you're on this
And we
crazy,
already
what is it,
have
like a
DMT
6-8 hour journey?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, we already supposedly our body already naturally has DMT. It's just because we have the inhibitor, we're not like tripping balls.
So there's a video of a jaguar in the jungle. They don't have the inhibitor, and he eats a plant with it, and he starts tripping his fucking face off. You can watch him laying there rolling around on the ground with his eyeballs, his pupils are like the size of fucking quarters.
I feel like I saw that with a bear too. A bear ate something. I was like,
Yeah, so DMT is naturally occurring in all through nature, and we have an inhibitor that we've created so that we don't fucking trip our faces off all the time.
What makes us believe, or why do we believe that we have the inhibitor then? Like why?
Well, clearly, if we understand science, it was an adaptation at some point.
yeah, I don't think you could function like that, like living like that.
If you follow the stoned ape theory, over millions of years, monkeys ate psychedelic mushrooms, and because of that, we started creating languages and consciousness.
But then
that's how the brain doubled in size, and we can't explain it.
Then something in evolution decided no more. We're done with this.
These idiots need to figure it out. Give them some plans.
Well, I don't know what you see when you do ayahuasca, but I can tell you when you do DMT, it is so much raw data and information that none of it makes any fucking sense. So if you saw that all the time, you would be confused as fuck.
Yeah.
That's psychosis.
Yeah. It's like a kaleidoscope of objects and shapes and colors and like anything that's never ending.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever experienced anything like that before. So I'm out on that one. I've never tried anything like that, so I don't know. Like I said,
that's what makes this so fun. It's the different ends of the spectrum.
No, yeah.
Nathan's never done it. I've done it recreationally to figure it out on my own, and then you've actually done it with like the actual locals.
Yeah. I know it's not for everyone.
No, it is. They just don't know it yet.
I don't know. I've seen it do some interesting things to people's egos.
Yeah, it kills the fuck out of them, which is exactly what he's happened.
The other side of it is I feel like it shows you your potential as part of it. And so people have these like, wow, I'm this Pleiadian light being, like whatever, and then they get stuck. Yeah, they get stuck in kind of these like, I'm not of this world, like I'm, and it's like, okay, we're kind of all not of this world. Like I get what you're saying, but also
So what about people that are like highly religious, for example? Like if you were to experience something like this, would it almost
they would talk to God, Nathan?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it like an affirmation thing for them when they come back from these experiences, or like when you talk to people, like does it give them kind of that affirmation of like, okay, like this kind of affirms what I believed in the first place? I don't know.
It is funny. I have heard people who are pretty religious, they're like, oh, you can't do that stuff because, it lets the darkness in or whatever. And it's funny because they've never done it. So it's like you can't really say you know what it's doing when you've never done it. And then I've met people who were like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then they'll do plant medicine. They're like, oh my gosh, like everything is God, even this. And it is that like affirmation for them, and they get to experience that in a different way outside of religion. But yeah, it is funny people's preconceived notions of what it is when they've never done it.
Sure. Well, I just think that's a product of like what cultural environment you're raised in. Because like
Yeah.
around here, it's very taboo. It's obviously very taboo. Like even marijuana just got passed legally here in Missouri, and it's still just like a no topic for,
Oh, wow.
some of the older generations and things like that, which I totally understand. Like that's how you're raised and that's what you're convicted by. Go for it. But yeah, so I just think it's very taboo type of thing around here. So you could never convince some people that they're going to be like, hey, let's take this DMT trip and see what happens. So
no, but if you dose them with some mushrooms while they're at church, they're going to talk to God that day and have a great time.
you think so?
They did a study on it. They had
really?
people go to church on psilocybin, and over half of them reported having some type of fucking crazy connection to God while they were there. Yes.
Interesting. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
It's funny to me how, and I'm kind of, I live a little differently. I can be kind of extreme person in some ways, but it is funny how people have those ideas of, and I get it, the war on drugs and all, I get where it comes from, but I don't know. I'm like, it's natural. I feel like people would rather people would easily go get drunk on a Friday night and like do stupid stuff than like go into like an intentional space to like, sit with themselves. And I just think it's funny, those ideas. And I also think people are afraid that it's going to put them into psychosis, or their brain's never going to be the same.
No, they're afraid
your
of
brain's
themselves.
never going to be your brain is never going to be the same, but in a good way. Yeah, I don't know. I think I was so open to it. I had my fears for sure, but I think I feel like I used to suffer a lot, and I was just so desperate, to be honest. And I was like, I have nothing to lose, and it changed my life. I can speak so highly of it while also saying I know it's not for everyone. But I also can't deny like how I feel about it. And, even going into counseling, I want to be that counselor that's like giving ketamine, that's, giving psilocybin. Like if someone is so stuck in their ways, I think these are tools, and it just helps you just kind of reorganize. Maybe you have beliefs that are stuck, and, it just helps you reorganize everything.
I think it's the only way you can get a perspective shift. It is literally the only way you can take your perspective and throw it out the fucking window and get something completely different. Like there's no other way for people to actually experience that until you do it. And you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Traveling, I think, and it's funny that word trip, right? I think traveling for me has done that, not to the same degree, but I think that is one of the closer things that have.
And then the other thing, when you're talking about not everyone should do it, I would say if you have not done the inner work to understand what it is even going on inside of you, your ego is probably going to fight it the whole time, and you're not actually going to get anything out of it.
Yeah. I've been doing, these plants specifically with ayahuasca for like 5 years, and I still find my ego fighting it.
Well, that's its job to survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's that duality, right? Like you have to have the ego to be there, but you also have to keep it in check so that it doesn't ruin everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I forget where I saw this, but I really liked this, and it was talking about how, so many, especially in the psychedelic world, I feel like people are like ego death, but it's like you need that. You don't want it to die necessarily, but it's about like maturing it. And so, you can see this a lot in our society where you have adults, but they're still children, like throwing tantrums and all these things, and that's just like a regressed version of themselves. So I like that idea of like the ego is always going to be there. You need it. You should develop a healthy relationship with it, and then just try to mature it, so you're not.
Well, it's the same reason people like hard workouts is it crushes your fucking ego. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's disappeared and you don't have one anymore, but you're dead at the end of the fucking workout. You're like, oh, I'm not shit. You're right. I just got fucking crushed.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that
That's
feeling actually. I think it's important to be humbled like that. You think you think you're cool, go do a hard workout. You're not gonna look cute. You're not gonna
yeah. Well, that's what we look for, right? Like we're looking where our life is so easy that we have to create hardships to grow.
Life is
Yeah.
hard. What are you talking about? Everyone thinks
For
life is
who? What
life
the
is
fuck is life hard for?
life's hard.
I can
Remember?
tell you, maybe the people in Egypt that listen to this podcast, maybe their life is hard.
Maybe
No
in the
one here in the
desert.
United States has a hard life.
maybe in some yeah, if anyone thinks that living in the United States is tough, I would implore you to search something
Literally
yourself.
the top 1% of the entire world.
Yeah, I've never been on that bandwagon. I don't understand how people can say things about that, but anyway.
The victim mentality that we're given through the media. We're all victims.
God, we woke up privileged from the day we were born. What are we talking
Yeah.
about here?
We did for sure. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you born in America, yeah, you won the lottery. Congratulations.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah, we are very lucky.
sorry.
It's funny that that's you don't really even hear people say that often anymore. It's like America sucks. Like,
well-
okay, we still have a lot of
Those are people that haven't traveled, like you said. Like,
It's
sorry,
Well,
I've been to Mexico. That shit ain't cool.
yeah.
That's such a good point because I remember when I was younger and I was traveling abroad a lot, I had that mentality of like America sucks, like capitalistic greed, all these things. And I started traveling and I was like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you. Okay, I'm a woman in a free country.
Yeah.
Like I don't have anything to complain about.
Yeah, people forget, like, there's people in the Middle East that still operate on medieval rules. Like, those are like the world townies. Like, they haven't gotten out of their little bubble to see how the rest of the world functions. And they're like, hey, no, we're going back to medieval times down here. You don't get any rules. You don't get any rights. Nothing's happening.
Well, that's why I was so upset when the whole exit from Afghanistan happened and the Taliban kind of reinserted themselves back into place, and it was just like, we're letting this happen so easily, and we don't forget like everything that's changed over this time period, and like what women especially have gained out of this, like, and then we're just gonna flip the switch and go right back to what it was, and people were just like, yeah, it's cool. It's like, no, it's not, but
And leave like millions of dollars worth of equipment.
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, all of it.
Let's not only like help them back into power, but let's give them
Yeah, give them more tools than they had
Yeah,
before that
that
were
sounds-
actually better than anything they had before.
that
Brilliant.
sounds smart.
yikes, big yikes.
The old people running the country just need to die already.
Oh,
Sometimes I feel incompetent or like, I'm not the best public speaker or whatever, and then I see certain people and
Mitch McConnell.
just turn the news on. You'll feel, yeah, just turn the news on. You'll feel good about yourself and your speaking abilities real fast.
Exactly, though. It's so sad. It's so true.
And those are the people running our country. Lovely. Anyway.
Fascinating.
Hey, one more year and then you get to hopefully elect a new leader, except it'll be rigged again.
It'll
Disclaimer.
be one of the other two, one of two shitheads we don't want to deal with. Like, pretty sweet.
Well, we're going right back to Biden versus Trump again. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be Biden, but yeah, it'll be somebody versus Trump.
Why won't it be Biden? They've already said it's going to be Biden.
Because he's fucking half dead, bro.
Well, if he dies, yeah. But
you know
I'm
who
just
it's
saying.
going to be? It's going to be the lovely shithead governor from California.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be Gavin fucking Newsom is who it's going to be. He's been hanging out at the White House for months. Like, go fuck that guy.
Mm,
Yeah.
Like, oh, let me mishandle everything in the world improperly and run the most terribly run state in the whole country. Well, maybe second to New York.
they're 1 and 2 for sure.
1A, 1B.
1A, 1B. Yeah.
Bookending the country in just fucking shambles.
I don't know if
Absolute
you know
shambles.
this, but in California, and I'm new to this state as well, so I'm also learning a lot. And in California, if you steal anything $1,000 or less, you can't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it's funny, I've kind of seen it. Like you'll see, I saw a mother who was carrying her baby and had like just stolen, like her and her friend had like huge duffel bags full of makeup, and the manager's yelling, he's like, I hope that makeup feeds your baby, and it's like, yeah, you see it. People can just walk in with a duffel
Jeez.
bag or whatever and just walk out. So
We just did a podcast
Yeah.
with a guy who was a cop in, where is he? Ontario? Canada?
Ontario,
California?
California.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like,
Yeah, Canada.
I would not
California.
be paying for
Oh.
food if I lived in California. I'd just be walking out the fucking grocery store with it. Like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
If you want to be stupid.
Oh
Like,
wow,
that
yeah.
is, you want to talk about the quickest way to a giant shithole.
Why did they pass that? Like, what was the reasoning? Like, I don't.
Nathan, it's
I
the
don't
fucking
fully know.
communists trying to ruin the country. What do you mean? What is the reason? The
That's
only
not-
way
that's
you
not
defeat the
communism,
greatest
though.
military. Yeah, it is. If you get them to want to fucking share everything and think everything is equal and everyone's deserving of something, that is a Marxist idea.
Oh,
110%.
It's like, it's under the good intention of like keeping people out of the jail system, right? Like if it's not a violent crime, like,
You don't need to arrest them, but they need to be given a ticket and a citation so that they don't do it again. Like you can't
It's
have no
tolerance.
penalty. Like no, that tolerance word that's a Marxist idea. All the people on the far
That's
left
why I
are communists.
specifically
That's what
use
they
it.
are. That's all it is they're just the only way you defeat the greatest military of all time, Nathan, is from the inside out.
yeah, that's a
We
fact.
talked. Okay, actually, I'm not even gonna say it.
Like you can't beat us by coming invading the country the normal way. You have to do it through ideology, and they started 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now people are so stupid they don't understand that history repeats itself, and this thing never went away. They're like, oh, communism went away and the Cold War ended. And like, no, we stopped fighting it, but it didn't go away.
Yeah, it's still very
I don't know
prevalent.
if you've seen that documentary, The Great Awakening. I don't know if either of you seen
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it.
It's so good. It's really good, and it really explains all of what you're talking about. And if you don't, everyone's at such a different spot, but if you're not aware, I feel aware of what's going on, I feel like you're gonna probably be really shocked. But if you're like somewhat aware, you're like, oh, this makes so much sense.
Yeah. Well, I'm always keeping
All
an
the
eye.
money.
Got to keep an eye.
All of the money.
Got to keep an eye. Well, my gas prices are almost about over $4 here in Missouri. We've never had anything close to $4, and it was like
We're
three.
over $4 here.
Yeah,
We're
it's
at
like
almost 6 again.
386 we saw yesterday. So I mean, and that's a big thing for here because like, oh man, you want to get someone fired up real fast here in Missouri. You just talk about gas prices. Wham.
So they all hate Joe Biden in Missouri then.
In Southwest Missouri, they are definitely bleeding red Republicans, which is, I think I looked at the Berry County results last year and it was like 77% voted, or not last year, but last election, they voted 77% red. So it's very red. Missouri's very red, except for obviously like Springfield, Kansas City, St. Louis, Columbia.
I mean, you're talking about the only state that conceal and carry is just fucking a right. It's not even a thing you have to learn about.
Sure is.
Like, yep, you can conceal and carry whatever you want. Have
Sure
fun.
is. Absolutely.
But I bet there's a lot less shootings because you never know.
Yeah.
Right.
The only place that it does, obviously, is like St. Louis. It's a pretty violent area, obviously, but
As are most shitty cities with liberal politics.
it's number one most violent city in America, just so you
Is it
know.
really? Wow. I didn't
Yeah.
know.
Really? Over Chicago?
Yeah, it's number one per capita as far as.
Or even San Francisco? Like, you can't even go in San Francisco without getting beat up by the homeless and shit.
I think if you're doing.
I have not been beat up yet, but I do not like San Francisco.
I think total number obviously is a lot bigger, but if you go percentage based, then yeah, I think per capita and percentage, then St. Louis is the most violent. So as
They're all
far as
shitballs.
arson, theft, gun violence, things like that, I'm pretty sure it's number one. I looked at it. I was reading about it the other day. So
They probably allow homeless encampments like every other major city. And
well,
that's
if
what
you
get.
if you look at last major elections, a lot of the people that had been long-standing Republicans in some of those counties and places like that, they actually flipped, obviously, and went Democratic. And it's not been so great for St. Louis since the last election. So
It hasn't been great for Portland. It hasn't been great for a lot of places.
Minnesota,
San Francisco, LA.
Yeah,
You know, I don't think San Diego's suffering anywhere near as bad as everywhere else in California.
man, I like San Diego. I always say that, but I do. I liked it. I liked
I
San
haven't
Diego.
been there yet, actually.
You haven't been to San Diego and you live in California?
Time to
Yeah, there's a
go.
lot of
You're going to be
places
like, why the fuck did I waste my time up north?
Yeah, that's a fact, actually. Yeah, San
It's
Diego's
so nice.
very nice.
I mean-
I've always heard such good things about it.
The weather's nice. There's a lot of homeless people and they don't take care of shit because California's poor.
Weather is phenomenal, though. Yes.
Weather is amazing. I'm spoiled where they take care of everything here. So, like, they fly in grass and shrubs and all kinds of shit to make it look pretty.
You
In
got
Boulder?
In Colorado, yeah, we live in a dry, arid climate. Like all that shit you saw in the city of Boulder that makes it all look good, that's not natural. Grass
Yeah.
isn't natural. None of it is.
That's fair.
but you got Dion
We-
too now, so
We
you're
make
good.
this shit bougie.
You got the best national treasure in the world right now, Deion Sanders, baby.
I don't know about the best, but he's definitely the best marketing machine I've ever seen.
Man, how about the Colorado State coach just giving him some fuel for the
So
fire?
awesome. That was brilliant. That was fucking brilliant. Hats off to that guy. This team has no relevance whatsoever, and he turned this game into like a giant rivalry again.
Yep. I love it. Good for him.
Move.
Anyway.
That guy's awesome, dude. He wears a fucking mechanic shirt to practice every day.
He's
the most blue collar fucking awesome. Like, I'm more happy I went to CSU than anything.
So his comment then made perfectly good sense about how he was raised. Yeah. Good for him.
So what this rivalry really is, in my opinion, if you live in Colorado, is it's all the transplants and fucking arrogant cunts against the people that actually live here and want to work hard.
There you go. All right.
Because it's the agricultural school against
the...
Well, but you're not like the people in Boulder. That's the thing. The people in Fort Collins are the agricultural, like, conservative, hardworking folk.
Is that where Colorado State is? Fort Collins? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know much about
north.
Colorado State, obviously.
Almost, I think it's closer to Wyoming than it is Denver. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's probably beautiful up there then.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, I bet so.
I like it up there, but I'm biased. I went there, so.
Gotcha.
So
So
probably gonna get fucking spanked though. I don't see it going.
No, I think it's gonna be a blowout. But anyway,
let's hope not. Maybe they can make it a shitty game and like win 10-7 or something.
No shot. That their offense is anyway. So what,
Nathan? Fuck you.
Rachel? What is your what are your plans after? Are you gonna stay in San Jose for a while? Are you gonna hang out there just until schooling gets done and then you see yourself relocating again, or kind of like? You said you don't really know what you want to do as far as career path's concerned with like training and the psychological side, but what are some of your options? Like, what do you think you could possibly do?
Well, right now I'm looking for an internship. So that's kind of really the last phase of this program is practicum and then internship at a location. There's a variety of options. You could be at a school, you could be at a hospital, you could be at a private facility, a public facility. And so, yeah, I'm looking for an internship and actually looking in Colorado, some here in California as well. And then by next month, I'll have to have like this is what I'm doing, where I'm going kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. What's your preferred kind of placement? Like, where would you rather kind of intern at?
Well, I laughed because I literally okay. So I originally I'm interested in working with teenagers, which is initially, maybe to start, or maybe at my internship working with teenagers, and then I also I feel like the place you work at is going to really determine how you feel about the field. And some of my classmates are like, "Yeah, I'm not really that excited about my placement," and I'm like, I don't want to be that.
Uh-oh.
And so I literally like typed was like nicest mental health facilities in California, in Colorado, because I want to work in a nice place. And so there's 2 spots in Colorado that I'm interested in, and then there's actually 1 spot here in California that I'm interested in. Nice places and more holistic. I want like a holistic facility that's like, it's not just about the mental health. We look at your nutrition, we do yoga, some do sound healing. And I've worked at a place like that before actually. And that just feels more my passions of blending the mind, the body, the kind of wellness, holistic stuff. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm have 1 more month to decide on where I will be.
Getting down to crunch time.
Yeah, no, not sweating here. No
pressure.
As I'm sweating.
So how long does this? Go ahead.
Nope, you go ahead. I'm just being a smart ass. It's nothing good. It's
then you
classic.
Bring in your smart ass comments, and that's normal.
Yeah, right.
How long does that last? The internship?
It's like a little over a year. It's a year and 3 months.
So yeah, you definitely want to pick right. It sounds like.
Yeah. I don't want to work at I think it'd be really hard to be in a hospital. I think even a school would be kind of hard.
Yes, I was going to say that. I would not want to be placed in school if I was you, but those are some of the hardest work. I was a teacher for 7 years, so I think that's a very difficult working environment for a lot of people right now, just in general. So kids
easier
are going,
when you could beat the kids.
But they're just kids are going through stuff right now, man.
Well, after COVID and
yeah, 100%.
Were you there during COVID?
I was. I was teaching the year that it got shut down. Everything got shut down, and then we came back that fall, and we had to be masked, like teachers, kids, everything. We did the whole mask route, where like, yay, we're gonna come to school, but we're all gonna wear masks,
And you're like policing these children, like wearing masks.
Well, I mean, good thing is like I worked with some good people, and we were pretty. We
Smart.
We put our foot down a lot of times,
You look at the science.
Kids were
C tells you doesn't work.
When we're asking like, elementary kids to wear a mask all day, and we're asking middle schoolers who are just going through all kinds of crazy crap at the time to try to wear a mask all day. We were pretty lenient with what we did, obviously, but it was tough.
You should have been.
Yeah,
you should have been kicking your own fucking ass if you thought telling anyone to wear a mask was a good idea.
Yeah, it was
funny.
Not fun.
Alex, I don't know if you got this, but I was working at a gym during COVID and during COVID, and I would have members be like, "You need to tell that guy to wear a mask," and I would just be like, "It's not part of my job responsibilities. I'm not doing that." And like, people get mad, but it's like, I never signed any agreement saying that I, as a trainer, am going to, or any profession, am going to police other people, and I'm going to do all these things. Like, I'm not going to do it.
Rachel, look at me. Do you think anyone tells me that I need to do something? I had a guy at Chipotle get mad at me while I'm not wearing a mask, but the motherfucker didn't really say anything until I left. I couldn't hear him through his stupid fucking mask anyway. So I was like,
well, and it's it is so interesting because, I feel like if you're fit, if you're healthy, like, and it's funny now, all these things are far right, extreme ideas, right? But I feel like it's kind of to your point, like you're fit, you're healthy, and then you have probably someone who's maybe not, I don't know what this guy, was like or what condition he was in, but I'm assuming probably not as healthy as you, and telling you what to do, and you're like, you're not even taking care of yourself. Like you're not maybe you're going to the gym, but you're not working hard. You're not like eating processed food, whatever. Like if you're healthy, you would not be stressing.
I was also raised in a world where you need to mind your own fucking business. Pretty simple. Like,
yeah. Well, that's
mind your own fucking business.
That's the stance.
If you think the masks work so fucking well, then wear it and have fun. I know it doesn't though.
I think it was people who just maybe they worked, this sounds kind of harsh, but maybe they worked like desk jobs, and maybe, I don't know, maybe like accountants, and that was like their time to be like, I'm like a good person, like making a difference in the world.
What do you mean, like everyone who virtue signals?
Yeah, it's bunch of it is virtue signaling.
Yeah, 110%.
You just want to show the world that you're doing something.
I don't know. I guess I'm in special circumstances. I've grown up around cars being painted all the time, and you could put an N95 mask on all you fucking want, and you're still breathing in fucking paint fumes. Well, they don't fucking work the way you think they do.
My favorite analogy, or what I heard, was like, yeah, sure, like COVID can escape a level 4 lab, right? Like all those safety precautions, everything, but your mask is going to keep it out. Yeah.
That's what's going to save you. Not being able to exercise is really going to save you too, right? Like not being able to take care of your body. I remember when I started coaching people outside during that, and they're like wiping down the kettlebells, and I'm like, guys, the fucking stress I just put you through is way worse than any whatever illness you can think. I don't give a shit. It doesn't happen. Like I don't even get sick because I work out and I stay healthy. It's crazy.
People are just so afraid.
There it is. I just choose not to live a life full of fear. Like I don't allow things to be fearful to me, and that's just kind of how I roll. Like I'm not. If COVID is COVID and COVID's supposed to do what COVID does, and I get COVID, like okay, cool. Like I'm not whatever. Like I'm not gonna live my life in this fearful little bubble. And COVID wasn't gonna change that for me. Obviously, the wrong people caved, and it changed it for the world. But like, I just was never fearful at any point.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's ironic, Nathan. I absolutely use fear for the exact opposite thing. I don't want to fucking regret shit when I'm 80 years old. I'm absolutely terrified of growing old and being like, well, what if?
Well, yeah.
What if?
That's healthy, yeah.
That's different. That's different, though.
Let's YOLO this bitch, because I might not wake up tomorrow.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wasn't, I don't know. Like, I see what you're saying, but I'm not going to I'm just going to live my life.
It's like the same thing, just different perspective.
Yeah, I get you.
Well, and I think the process that I had to go through with COVID was just accepting our imminent death will happen, And I remember having this thought to myself, and I was like, I would rather die than live in a world where people don't have choice over their body, and just the trajectory that I saw from that.
Yeah.
I would rather die than live in that world. So for
Yeah.
me, it was, and that sounds extreme, and I told
Viva
people that.
Revolution.
I told people that. I'd be like, I would rather die than live in this. Like, I will take that chance. I
But-
feel healthy. I feel fine. Like,
I feel like too that's been segued now into the culture that we're living now. So it's like, okay, they use COVID to kind of segue into that kind of mindset of like getting people to do and act and talk the way they want them to act. And it's like, now we're the ones that sound crazy because it's like, no, we're just want to keep the rights that we've had forever and ever and ever and be able to do the things.
We're the silent majority is the problem, Nathan. They only represent the loud minority.
Yeah.
Like literally the loudest idiots in the room. So like you go to a party when you're a kid in high school, right? And there's always that one fucking jackass that drinks too much and thinks he's tough and gets loud and everyone's like, oh my God, oh my God. You know who you need to really worry about is the quiet guy in the fucking corner who's about to whoop his ass. It's not the one who's making all the noise.
Well, I think we'll see next election. I think we'll see where the silent
the pendulum's going to
is.
swing so hard the other way. Everyone's going to be fucking bleeding heart Christians in the next 20 years.
I think so too.
That's exactly what they're going to do.
It's going both ways, though. Like, it is going both ways.
Oh, no, they started fucking with the kids. Now everyone's going to go back to being religious.
Yeah.
I don't know. They started doing that during COVID, and parents like willingly went to vaccinate their kids.
Well, because
no, I mean, I'm talking about the gender mutilation shit.
Yeah, but it started during COVID. They started going after the kids.
You also live in the most liberal area in the country. You have the worst bias ever without even knowing it, because that's all it is out there.
Did you see that? I saw a Joe Rogan clip about that. He's like, well, if a girl or a guy wants to be a girl and a girl wants to be a guy, like, let them be it. Why do you have to keep injecting them with hormones and things like that? Like, just let them believe that that's what they are. Stop injecting kids with these hormones. And then Bill said,
if it's not okay for me to fucking take testosterone, fuck everyone else.
Bill,
I want to take testosterone. So if you can't, but I decide I want to, I should be able to. That's kind of
I'm not alled to, but yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Help my gains. Yeah. I'll just,
it'll help you gain a wiener too.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so ironic too. For the past 3 years, these are the same people who've yelled trust the science, and then we can't even discuss basic biology.
No, they want to trust the science that they paid for, not real science.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's I don't know. It's interesting when you like think of like where someone is like psychologically with that. Like there is so much cognitive dissonance. Like even, I love how people use like such simple reasoning to make an argument. And it's like, if there's more than 2 genders, why is there only 2 gender reassignment surgeries? Like I love that. But that,
2 plus 2 does not equal 4. Okay.
Never thought of it like that, actually. That's pretty simple.
Me either. That's the fucking
it is, yeah.
Brilliant.
It's like
That's
the COVID thing too. Like if it can escape a level 4 math or level 4 lab, but your mask can keep it out. Like, yeah, I love those like just little bits of this is so simple. Let's just get the baseline. Like
talking about airborne.
What is going on here?
You know what those are? Those are the clues that we're in a simulation. That's all it is. You're just picking up on the Easter eggs.
Could be.
What?
The things that are so simple and stupid is like, oh, this is why it's a simulation. It's totally a simulation.
Of our own making.
No, we didn't make the simulation. We're just in one. Everything. So are you familiar with the Fibonacci sequence?
Mm-hmm.
Like everything breaks down into ones and zeros. What is a computer program?
Ones and zeros. Yeah.
We're in the Matrix. Alex believes we live in the Matrix.
I fucking know we do. There's no, you can't disprove it. That's the best part.
Well, you can't disprove a lot of things, but.
Yeah, so exactly. You guys want to believe in your man in the fucking sky. I'm going to believe in it being a computer game.
Well, I don't know where my man is. I don't think he's in the sky. I don't know where he is.
You know what I'm saying. Everyone always looks up and does this.
Yeah, I know.
It's fucking something up here.
I don't understand that whole
the sun,
reference, but I mean,
well, she's probably right. It probably comes from worshiping the sun back in the day, because that would bring you life, right?
That's true.
That was what gave you everything.
Yeah.
And when you were fucking primal animals and it disappeared for half the year, you're like, holy fuck, is it coming back? Where'd it go?
Yeah.
But everything in my culture, or not my culture, but like what I believe, it's always bowing in reverence and not being able to show your face.
Like, Nathan, have you ever heard of what Jesus's resurrection is around Christmas actually is about.
I
So
would
the
love to
sun
hear
stops
this.
moving. So the sun moves across the horizon, and for 3 days it stops, and then it goes back the other way.
Interesting.
And what does that relate to? Like it's
Jesus dying for 3 days and coming back to life.
So
okay.
that's
Same, right?
So that's what people. Wait,
Yeah,
what?
They got it
Where's
from
the?
that because back in where civilization started in Mesopotamia, when you look at the horizon line, the sun will move across it, right? And then eventually it gets to a point where it stops, doesn't go any lower, and then it starts reverting back the other direction.
So how does that relate? To the resurrection. I'm confused.
Didn't he die for 3 days and come back to life?
I think
Yeah.
you're kind of reaching here,
so
but
it's they were
we're both
looking at
me
it
and
as
Nathan
like the sun
what?
is the same thing, right? Like it stops moving. That's
So
their
they're relating Jesus to the sun, is what you're saying.
the story comes from originally
The
worshiping the
Son
sun.
of
Yes.
God, yeah.
Yeah, the sun is God.
Ah,
I think
okay.
that there's so many just like symbols though, like and I think about this a lot, like I would love to just go back in time and with certain periods, but like if you're like, with a lot of these like legends that have been passed down where they're like there was a snake flying in the sky, like I feel like so much of it is just people not really having the words or maybe lost in
Or
translation
could
or
they have
whatever.
been doing DMT and not knowing it?
What?
Yeah, that might be,
The burning bush, the acacia bush. If you burn an acacia bush, it has DMT in it.
Well,
Well, even
so
in the Bible, they're talking about mana, and I saw these interviews of someone was like, "What is mana?" Like it keeps being referred to, but what is it? And a lot of religious scholars like it must like maybe it's some sort of mushroom,
We are here because of the mushrooms.
What?
interesting.
So we're here because of the mushrooms.
He's
Well, a
convinced.
lot of people, like what you're saying, that people didn't have the words to describe when you read the book of Revelation, and you have words that are representing what the vision is actually being portrayed. It's like, what the heck is he even talking about? Like, you can't understand it, right? Or you try to interpret it, but it's like, yeah, I just don't think they had the language to be able to be like articulating what it is they were actually encountering at that time. So that's an interesting.
Rachel, did you know that spores are the only thing that can survive in outer space, and we have no idea where they come from?
I didn't know that actually. That's cool.
We don't know where they came from either.
No, they have
You think
no
there's
idea where the
mushrooms on,
origin of
like-
spores is.
You think there's mushrooms on other planets?
I don't know. They can survive on asteroids, I guess.
That's cool. I never really thought about
Terrence McKenna says if you eat enough of them and sit in the silence, they will tell you where they came from and why they're here.
it.
But he won't tell us.
No, he talks about it.
Oh, but he won't tell us where they came from and why they're here.
Said they're from outer space. Like he says, you got to talk to the mushrooms themselves.
Interesting.
I feel like I've never really gotten to the point with these like plants where I feel like it's always very
Subtle.
yeah, subtle, but sometimes personal in a sense too. Like I don't feel like I understand secrets of the universe per se, it's just like, hey Rachel, you're doing this thing, like stop doing it. Or
So
like
Terrence McKenna and his brother ate nothing but mushrooms in the Amazon for weeks. That's where he came up with the stoned ape theory. They started seeing languages like visually and started seeing all this different shit that would be like writing and all these different things. That's why they believe that's where the monkeys got the ideas for what we have as consciousness and language.
That is quite the stretch.
I mean, if you're willing to eat nothing but psilocybin for a couple weeks,
there's no telling what you're going to come up with.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, man. It's fucking crazy. Like I've watched my cousin turn into the fucking lizard from Monsters Inc. in front of me.
Kudos to the people that can or will do that for those that are not willing to can or do that. So shout out to these people. Like, good for you. I have no desire to do that.
You would
I
never
would probably
do
go
it?
down to
No.
New Mexico and be Rick Strassman's test subject for one of those clinical trials.
Oh, yeah.
Really? You'd go on the
dude.
DMT journey?
Intravenous DMT? Let's see it. Come on.
Oh.
I want to meet the elves. I never got to meet the elves. Didn't make it that far.
Yeah.
Well, the elves are only on DMT. They don't come with ayahuasca.
I've done DMT twice, but
Have you? You didn't make it to the other side?
no, not really. I guess I had a whiteout experience is what some people refer to it as. My first time, I just was completely like everything was light. And it was I understood that it was everything and nothing. But
yeah, that part's crazy, right? Like everything is everything and everything is nothing. You're like,
yeah, I got stuck in the nothing. I was like, it's nothing. Everything means nothing. But then it's funny because sometimes you'll have these visions and then they'll the lessons kind of like it take months,
long time.
years, yeah, to like understand. And yeah, it took me a long time to kind of get through that and be like, okay, obviously it's just what you make of it.
Yeah, the people that come out of the trips and they're like, well, I learned this. And I'm like, you didn't fucking learn that. You don't even know what you learned yet. Shut up. Like, fucking get out of here with that.
So it's the people that come out quiet that you're like, oh yeah, gotcha.
It's a mind fuck.
Yeah, I love specifically ayahuasca. I love that medicine so much. I really feel like it will be part of my life for the rest of my life.
But doesn't like the vomiting and all the rejection from your body, doesn't that part suck?
No.
Because it's like purging you of all the badness. Is that what's happening? So
But
you
it's
feel
like
better?
that's gonna be there. In my opinion, I think that's already there.
When I
And
fucking eat
so
mushrooms, it's not. When I smoke DMT, it's
yeah.
not.
I agree. I think that that's part of why it is such a unique medicine.
So it cleanses
But
you? It just purges you?
yeah,
Oh,
like
dude,
you
you
can
fucking
cry, you can yawning, you can pee, you can
shit
puke.
yourself. Like there's
Yeah,
no
you can
telling
shit
what your
yourself.
body will do.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's purging you of any negative voodoo that's inside of you.
All
And
the
it's
bad
usually like
juju.
weird past trauma shit that just represents
A lot of
itself in
like
this manifestation.
ancestral, yeah. Yeah,
Interesting.
I had a pretty powerful one last time where there was this like I like to think everything's at the heart of it, everything's energy, right? And so I realized that I had this energy that was just stuck, like it was going on loop, and I didn't even know it was there. I didn't it was so normal, it was just going, and it was
Like
a
a
lot of
self
like
sabotaging pattern.
it was probably, but it was specifically more on blame. I was blaming myself for a lot, and I didn't know how to even stop that. And I was going through like I was crying and like puking, and I was like, what do I do with this? Like I learned a lot about forgiveness and experienced forgiveness, and it was like just get it out, you know. And I just like was puking it out, and it was like it's not there's nothing to do, you know, just get it out. And yeah, I don't think like that's why I love it, is because you don't know what you don't know. And although maybe I could have you know, at some point found this loop that was going on in me, I think it was so normal, I just didn't even notice it. And I'm still, you know, like we said, like, you know, for months and even years, like you'll be integrating, you'll be processing, you know. And so I'm still trying to like find it now that I know it's there. I do think that it was that it felt like a chain broke, but it's still going to be there. So I'm still looking for it within myself, but I didn't know about it before, you know.
Interesting.
So it's really helpful. It's really helpful.
This stuff sounds, I don't know. I don't know that I'll ever go down that road, but it's interesting for sure.
Just try a
Why do
sweat
you think?
lodge, Nathan. Then you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it. You
Why
can
do you
just do
think you
something
wouldn't do
simple.
it? Yeah, why do you think you wouldn't do it?
I'm too simple. I'm just a simpleton. So I don't.
Simple guy.
He
Simple
likes his
guy.
explanations the way they are. He doesn't want to rattle the cage.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to rattle the cage. That's what like everyone that always comes to me and was like, "Why do you believe what you believe? Why do you have this faith? And why do you think this?" And why? I'm just like, because I do. I don't know. I can't. I don't. To me, when I read it and think about it, it makes sense. So I'm just like, nah, okay, whatever.
Read like the Bible, you mean?
Yeah, and also
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, I'd rather be on the fence of like.
Rather hedge your bets that way.
Rather hedge my bets this way than be like, hey, there's nothing out there, and then actually get there and be like, oh shit.
I'll respect that. At least most people won't even admit that. They want to pretend like
why
they're
wouldn't
actually
you
like
admit
devout.
that?
And I'm like,
well, you should
you're just
be
hedging your bets. It's okay.
But you should be devout too. Like there's obviously things that you need to do, but
yeah, I know that I said that nothing, kind of everything and nothing, but I don't feel like anyone goes in these journeys and finds just nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think that, like
I've
I said,
heard
I
that
think
some people do. Unfortunately, my client that works with these people that takes them down to Mexico to do these, he says some of these people have such a crazy fucking mindset that they will fight it tooth and nail the whole time.
Yeah, I don't think it's for everyone. Yeah.
Well, these are the people actually with PTSD who need it the most, but they're so programmed to fight the PTSD parts that they just don't know anything but to fight.
I've met people like that where it's like in their bodies fighting.
Yeah, like he said, he'll take people, they'll do ayahuasca and they like start banging their fucking head against the floor and shit. Like they have to do it in padded rooms.
Wow.
Because these people have like crazy trauma.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Well,
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, when you get assigned to go across the world and murder people,
Oh, sure. No, I get the reasoning why. I'm just like,
it's
that's
gonna leave some scars.
intense. Yeah, that's intense. Very,
Yeah.
very intense.
I feel like the sexual trauma is another big one. I've seen that like with people in ceremony, and it's always unique to other people's healing. Because there's some people who it's like they're there for the intention to like work on their childhood trauma or maybe work on specific things, but the sexual trauma is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot different, I would say, like when I meet people who are in ceremony working with that.
Have you run into the people in your area that treat it like it's a cool party drug and they have like these psychedelic parties and then they dress up in these woo-woo things and completely just abuse it and don't even understand what's happening?
Not really, but I have no doubt that's happening. Yeah.
No, it's definitely happening.
And I see this a lot. Like it's funny because I love this medicine and I think authenticity is really important. And so that's why I respect anyone's belief so long as it's, feels authentic to them. But I just feel like there's a lot of people who they get into even spirituality as a whole, and it's like it becomes so, I don't even know the word I'm trying to look for.
Their identity.
Yeah, and it's just like a show, It's like, oh,
Fucking
I've done
posers.
ayahuasca 50 times or whatever. And it's like,
Oh,
it's kind of like people who travel a lot. They're like, I've been to 50 countries.
Mhm.
It's like, if you have to like explain that, or like if you feel the need to, that's the first thing you're going to talk about.
yeah.
I feel like probably some ego there.
Well, it's not genuine at
those
that
are the
point.
people not getting the actual treatment.
Right.
They're just like fucking fighting it all the time. But like as easy as it is for me to now get mushrooms here in Colorado because they're decriminalized, I can only imagine the shit people decide that, oh yeah, let's do that. I'm like, you don't get it. You're missing the whole point. Like, it doesn't work that way.
I wonder why that happens. I'm curious about the ego in that sense.
Or is it people don't have an identity themselves? Like they don't identify with anything, so they're like, "Oh, I'll just identify with this." I don't know. Like this is my thing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's my thing. I do this thing. I don't know.
But the fucked up thing is, Nathan, if you do it correctly, there's nothing about it that makes you want to go and tell anybody that this is what I do and this is my thing. And like, it'll maybe tell you like when you sense that somebody could use it, you're like, hey, maybe you should think about this. But it's not like
it's not a party starter.
Brag about this.
Yeah, it's not like a conversation holder at a party.
Like, there's not one psychedelic I've ever done, like including weed, where it's like, hey, go brag about your usage. I think it's not what
funny,
it is.
And this is where it becomes an interesting conversation for me. And like what I've been thinking about is back to the authenticity piece. Like if this is something that's really important to me, and it is, just like working out is important. I talk about working out. Why wouldn't I talk about something else that's important to me? So then that's where
like you said, it's not for everyone.
Yeah, but I guess not everyone works out, but
I'm not still
gonna toot the horn of
mean, I think everybody should take a real fucking heavy dose of mushrooms once a year and see how their life changes. I guarantee you it'll get better.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. Probably not wrong. Because
I know I'm not wrong because I know it fucking changed my life. It was
that's what I'm saying.
Fucking mind opening. Yeah, I was like, holy shit.
You're speaking on behalf of your experience, so you would imagine.
I mean, the DMT was where it just really fucking that didn't make any sense. It still doesn't make any sense.
But I think it's funny. I feel like you both have these convictions about what you believe, but you're kind of polar opposite in a sense.
Yeah, Nathan's a pussy. It's okay.
Ah, come on.
I'm just kidding, Nathan. It's okay.
No, I just don't have the desire, I guess.
The yin and the yang. Well, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
and I think at the heart of it,
wait till it's legal down there and everybody does it, and then you'll do it.
Yeah.
Well, it took us this long to get. It took
in
us
20
this long
years.
to
It'll
get
be the
marijuana.
new weed. Yeah, 20 years.
Exactly.
It'll be the new weed.
It took a long time. I really never thought Missouri would come to grips with it, but they finally
money,
did,
bro. My grandpa said the best thing ever that has never been more true than it is in this day and age. But bullshit walks and money talks. That's all there is to it.
There was where the dispensary, because you could get it medically, but then there was a dispensary and there was a coffee shop attached to each other, and the lady owned both of them, and she's actually a doctor in town, so she owns.
Fun fact: two of the highest profiting things you can be in. Coffee makes more than weed, and then weed is second to coffee. So.
And so the funny thing is once the law got passed, the coffee house was ran by this other lady that she'd hired, and they were like, "Hey, we're going to kick you out. Like you can't operate here," because they needed to be able to actually hold more products so they could actually sell it. And so someone asked me the other day, they were like, well, I wonder why they kicked her out. Like, do you think she just wasn't doing very well? And I'm like, no, she was doing just fine. But it's like they were going to make way more money doing this thing than the coffee thing, obviously. And then she opened up her shop right down the road again, and she's doing just fine. So it was just like, man, that's
Let's start a coffee shop.
What are we going to call it? The irrelevant coffee shop? Because no one's going to come to our coffee shop.
We can make it a coffee and a weed shop. We call it Smokin' Joe's.
Smokin' Joe's. Is that legal?
Joe.
I'd
Can
go.
you do that?
I'd go.
Well, like remember in Amsterdam, they were all called coffee shops where you could get high.
Really? I didn't know that.
Back in the day, I don't know if that's still a thing, but back when Amsterdam was the only place you could go do mushrooms and smoke weed and do all these.
So
fun things.
Nathan, do you smoke weed?
I do not. No,
You do not. Okay.
I
Respect
do
that.
not.
You guys, I like the polarity here.
Now, like when I was in school, I did some of that stuff, obviously.
You did all
like,
the college things.
Yeah, like in college.
Besides
and
mushrooms.
things like that. But no, I have not for a long time. Very long time. Probably like, I don't know, 10 years or so, probably.
Man, good for you.
Yeah. I just haven't been in a situation or a place where, number one, it was presented to me, and number two, I felt the desire to do that again. So, but yeah, I was a dumb teenager. I was a dumb young adult. I did some things. So
Next time you come out here, I'm going to dose you with mushrooms and see what happens.
yeah, good luck, buddy. You got to get
going to be the mastermind is going to be, that's why it's a 2-day retreat, is you're going to have a night of mushroom tea and see how that goes.
Can we do it after the trading day? Because I don't want to go.
No, it'll be before. So like when you're in training the next day, you'll be really thinking about all the crazy shit that happened and like, how did we get here?
Just dying
How did
while I'm
this
doing
happen?
it. I'll just be dying.
Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
fun though?
I don't know. I think
that'd be a good time. I think.
if my wife is listening to this, she's probably going to be like, "Yeah, you're never going to Colorado again."
Rachel, have you ever tried mushroom tea?
Did you hear? That's funny.
Tea?
Yeah, the tea. Have you ever tried psilocybin tea form?
I made it with some people once, but
Talk about a freight train. Holy shit.
The
I feel like all of
tea?
it is
The
a-
tea?
Oh,
was-
dude, it hits you like a ton of bricks and it's in like 15, 20 minutes.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So your body takes 15 minutes to absorb 12 ounces of water. So you figure 30 minutes in, you're probably already blasting off on the spaceship.
Wow.
I did it with my friend at my old house one time, and he's like, this isn't going to do anything. This is bullshit. 30 minutes later, he's laying on the floor just like, oh my God. Like, I fucking tried to tell you. But
Yeah.
it's the easiest way to digest it.
And I'm curious, we've talked about like how it's not for some people, right? And Nathan, obviously you're not really about it, but I am like, what I'm thinking about is like the difference between people doing it and having the reverence for it and people doing it just to
do it.
yeah. And I think that's really important. And even
That's
if
how you have a bad trip.
yeah.
The only time I
Yeah.
ever had a bad trip is I decided to do it in Boulder while we were out drinking.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Fucking
because it's like
terrible idea.
I don't really think I don't see bad trips the same way I used to, but I do think that if you're in a big group of people doing it just to like party, or you may have a good time, but again, like,
Mm-mm.
there's no reverence with that. Some people do, but
That's because they
you know.
just hide from it. That's when I learned that everything that we feel is the energy of people around. I could feel people's negative energy across the room,
Yeah,
and it
I've
was
had to
freaking me the
learn-
fuck out. I was like, what is going on?
yeah, I've had to learn boundaries because I those kind of energetic boundaries because I very easily can just absorb everyone.
Well, we do it all the time. That's the thing. So what part of what psilocybin is doing is it's shutting down the part of your brain that has you worry about anything, and you're just receiving the information, right? Like you can just sit there and analyze it instead of looking at it with any type of bias or worry. And you're like, what the fuck is this? Like when I did it in Boulder, I was like, why do I feel so weird? And like it was people's vibes because I would walk away from them or like go to the bathroom and it'd disappear. And I'm like, this is fucked up. Like this is what's happening all the time, and we just don't tune into it.
Yeah.
Like you can feel people's energy all the time. Like that thing I posted yesterday, it's like if you sit next to a high performer, you will do 15% better. If you sit next to somebody who is a low performer, you will do 30% worse. Like energy is real. You're right. Everything is energy. And it can't be created or destroyed, but it sure can be transferred.
That's crazy that you could feel someone's negative energy across the room.
Oh yeah, dude, it was fucked up. It was fucking with me so bad, and it was a bad trip because I didn't understand what the fuck I was getting into before I did it. I was disrespecting the medicine, so then
exactly.
it became not enjoyable. And it was actually the best trip I probably ever had because it was the most enlightening one.
Mm. I like that.
Yeah, don't take a bunch of vitamins and a small dose of mushrooms thinking nothing's going to happen because the vitamin C, ooh, buddy.
Yeah.
Talk about enhancing the performance enhancing drug. Wow.
It's just in a
Also,
different
don't
way.
use orange juice if you take psilocybin, folks. It'll
That's
make your
what I
stomach
do.
twist and turn. Use
No,
pineapple
it
juice.
helps. No, okay. I think
Pineapple juice. The vitamin C helps, yes, but the citrus from the fucking orange juice will make your stomach flip. And so,
I've
like,
never
every
had that.
time you're going on these peaks and valleys, well, you probably need to eat more mushrooms, but you know, we're not going to go down that road. But it'll fucking literally twist and turn. It feels like you're on a bad roller coaster. Like, I did it like the first 3 times and I drank too much orange juice because, you know, more is better, obviously. And oh my God, I'd just be laying on the ground like, I think I'm going to shit myself. And it never happened, but that's what it feels like. Pineapple juice, none of that happens. It's just smooth sailing.
Interesting.
Also, if you fast, that creates a whole different response too.
So do you wonder, I wonder if like biblically that would make sense if they were experiencing these things?
Oh yeah.
Because they,
like when I fasted is when I saw the most hallucinations.
Because fasting was a part of that culture, obviously, and still is. It's a very big part of that culture. So I was just
well, and you can hallucinate just from fasting too long. So
yes, you can. That's why they did that. It's obviously to be in the presence of God.
One day Nathan's just gonna have to accept all the stuff that they talk about in the Bible was written while they were tripping their fucking faces off.
I don't know. I don't know these things. Like I said, I read them for what they're worth, but
I know you don't know them, but I don't believe in them at all. And then when I do that stuff, I'm like, oh, this makes perfect sense where this came from. I totally get it now.
So do you believe though that even when they were tripping, that's what they were experiencing and that is a real thing? Or it was just like, no, they're just hallucinating something that's not real?
No, when you're tripping, you get to interact with whatever that thing is that connects us all. That is a thing.
Yeah.
That is an intelligence.
So does it affirm you or? Yeah.
I mean, I believe if you took your perspective and you went and did it, it would just make you that much stronger believer in your perspective.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't think it would convert you to not believing. I think it would just give you like, oh yeah, this is actually it.
I don't think there's anything that's going to convert me to not believing, but you know.
Yeah, I am curious, Alex. I know that you said like simulation, computer, ones and zeros, but like I do, in my opinion, it all is God, in my opinion. Like whether you're talking about the Bible, whether you're talking about what you're experiencing through these ceremonies or whatever. Do you feel like you agree with that?
Yes, 110%.
Interesting.
Because you come from it from like a very logical ones and zeros approach. I'm just curious, like.
Well, yeah, but we all came from something, which is the universe, right? The universe came from somewhere. There's just a constant energy that's flowing. That's all the same. One is the same. Like we're all the same fucking thing, just slightly different iterations of that.
It's always weird to me, like if you read Genesis.
If I had experienced the same things you experienced, Rachel, I would be you. You experienced the things I had experienced, you would be me. If we'd experienced the things Nathan experienced, we'd be Nathan. Yeah, it all starts in the same place.
We're all innately created, Alex. That's why. We're special, buddy.
We're not special.
You guys are so funny.
I believe that we are. I believe that we're special.
Well, special means that there's differences, but we're not special. We're all the same.
Right. But I mean, we were all created in the image of a creator, in my opinion. So that makes us innately special, in my opinion. But
so then if that's the way it goes, then that means we ourselves are partly gods.
We've had this conversation. We had this conversation in Boulder. I don't believe that. I believe that
I do.
God lives within us, but that's just.
How's it different?
Because we weren't created to be God. We're not gods.
So it's okay if he's inside you, but it's not okay if it's a part of you.
Well, I think God gave us the power of the Holy Spirit, you jackwagon.
So then that would make us part demigod type things, like Hercules.
Sure. If you want to reference it that way, I mean, that's one way to look at it.
Yeah, because to me, Greek mythology is the one that makes the most sense out of all of it.
Really?
If I'm buying into a religion, it's either Greek mythology or Hinduism. I'm not going with any of this other shit.
You're just buying into Greek mythology because it seems cool. That's why.
Yeah, they have the best stories. Fuck off. Like, what are we talking about here? Is that not what religion is? Is stories?
There's some pretty good stories in the Old Testament. There's some pretty good stuff.
Because he is an asshole and just fucking kills people. Like, yeah. But I don't know. Greek mythology sounds cool.
What, they were all a bunch of assholes. What are you talking about?
I know, but they had, Cyclops and all kinds of crazy
Like
shit that was going on.
It seems like gods always have that in common. Like whatever culture you want to look at, gods are always like, squish. Like, you know what I mean?
I think Hinduism's the coolest one because they're like, yeah, pick whoever you want to worship. We don't care. There's fucking tons of them. Have fun.
Yeah.
Interesting. Greece is like that too, though. I mean, you could worship whatever god you wanted.
It's not quite as multifaceted, but yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Hinduism's like a never-ending. Like, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, here you go, and it's allegedly the oldest one. So
yes,
they know the most.
Yeah, it is technically. If we know how time actually works and how long the timeline actually is, but
so
that's another story.
What I think it is all these stories are explanations of the same thing, and that same thing you can experience through psychedelics. That's what I think those stories are. Those stories are all just different encounters of the same energy, the same whatever the fuck you want to call it.
They're just telling it in their perspective. Yeah.
Well, there's a psychologist who coined the term like collective unconscious, and that's kind of his idea where somehow throughout all of time we have this, we have our consciousness, but then there's this unconscious part of us that he believes is very symbolic, and we're all just kind of somehow it exists between like this universal mind, and we all are just kind of making sense of that, of these symbols, these stories, these dreams or whatever.
Well, it's like, how do we in strength and conditioning come to all the same conclusions without ever interacting with one another? Like, I know you've stumbled upon things, Nathan, that exactly what Louis was probably doing, and you didn't know Louis was doing it, and then you found out later, and you're like, oh shit, that was the right thing to do.
Well, because those people are smarter than me, and I just kind of figure out what they're doing and try to use that.
Or we're all pulling from the same collective ether.
Yeah.
Which could be your god, if you want to call it.
Which is like, why does the same stuff in strength and conditioning continue to prove itself over and over and over again? You can't reinvent the wheel, really, but some people try to reinvent the wheel. There's some cool Instagram accounts out there.
Joel Seedman out there just crushing it. Yeah. Slaying the game with his 90-degree eccentrics.
Man.
Fuck that is.
90-degree.
Rachel, do you hate anybody in the strength and conditioning industry?
Do I hate anybody?
Yeah. Does anyone just make your skin crawl?
Make your teeth grind?
Like, ew, you are a disgusting human being. Like, I hate Joel Seedman, for example.
I don't know if I know who that is, actually. I feel like I've seen.
You don't know who Joel Seedman is?
I feel like I've seen like has like ads sponsored. I feel like I've seen him there.
Probably
but
he's a real twat. He got a PhD and now everyone thinks he knows what he's doing, and he gives athletes free training, so he gets good marketing and has some of the worst ideas ever.
I'll have to look into him. No, I mean, I have my gripes with the fitness industry for sure.
Taken over by marketing and bullshit.
Yeah, like, buzzwords, like whatever. But I don't think there's anyone. I feel like so long as you're getting people moving, that's helpful and important. I guess my biggest gripe, I kind of alluded to this in the beginning, was just it's so like weight loss obsessed, especially, I work with a lot of women.
Money.
Which is fine. Like, again, like you have every right to feel good in your body. If that means some people need to get to a healthy weight, I love supporting people with that. But you can't wait for weight loss to feel good, to feel confident, to I don't like what a toll it takes on people's mental health.
But isn't that part of like a good journey is teaching somebody that the ability to accomplish something is really what you're after, and it's not the weight loss? Like, the weight loss just feels good because it's a goal. And if you set small goals along the way, then it doesn't matter what you weigh.
Yeah, and it doesn't. I just think it's so many subtle little mindset shifts, because it's like it doesn't feel good to look in the mirror and know that you were eating like crap, you haven't really been working out, and now you can see that reflected, and you're like, oh, I see that I haven't been taking care of myself. I can see that.
Could it be also that when you eat shitty stuff, it gives you shitty fuel and your brain just doesn't work as well? So then you have an even more negative perception of yourself?
But, yeah, definitely. I see it all the time. I've work with a lot of even women in their 40s, 50s, and it honestly breaks my heart to see women who are in their 40s and 50s and still like so at war with their bodies. Like, they eat salads all the time, they do a bunch of cardio, and they're eating 900 calories a day. And I get the struggles with body image, right? think every single human gets that. But I feel like at a certain point, you just have to be like, enough. Like, I will do what I can, what is in my control. But, you don't, I really believe that, especially these body image struggles, if you don't deal with those, part of what I learned was because of my mom's struggles, and I see these women who are in their 40s and 50s, and I'm like, when are you going to get to the point where you're just like, enough? Like, I can't be 50 years old still like obsessing what my body looks like.
When someone shows them that they can. That's why they need to pick up heavy things and eat dead animals.
This is the morbid way to say that.
That's a great
It's
quote.
facts.
That's a great quote.
Lift heavy shit and eat dead animals, you're going to get hot. Guaranteed. Any chick that's listening to this, if you're not lifting heavy things and you're not eating enough protein, you're not going to be hot. There's no way. Physically impossible. Like,
can't build lean tissue. Can't build lean tissue.
No,
I love your guys'
healthy.
balance. Like, Alex is just like whole next level of just like say whatever.
Alex has no
Nathan
modesty.
brings it down
No modesty. None.
It's simple. The easiest way to think about it is pick up heavy things, eat more dead animals.
I say that where it's like, stop focusing on the weight loss and just focus on lifting heavy, like train like an athlete, eat like an athlete. In my opinion, athletes look great,
Ladies listening, if you don't know, Rachel's jacked as fuck, so you should probably just lift heavy things and eat more dead animals. That's all I'm going with.
I gotta admit, I hate the way you're saying that, but as someone who was a vegetarian for 16 years, I completely agree, but I wouldn't say it like
yes, fucking A.
I know.
We're gonna clap for that. Yes.
So,
yeah,
one other fact:
I've
did you know that cows were designed to just be our food?
Mm-hmm.
Cows were not a naturally occurring animal in nature originally. We took two different animals and bred them to be docile creatures to just eat grass and be our food.
I didn't know.
So you don't have to feel bad about eating cows.
Yep. Correct. Fact. Yep.
And
I just learned this recently. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, we're so fucking crazy that we're like, hey, we're going to make things to be our pets and our friends because we don't like people, which are dogs, right? And then we're going to make these things to be our food. We're going to fucking eat them and they're going to be delicious.
As again, someone who's a vegetarian for a very long time, then there's the argument of like climate change, like stop eating cows for climate change. And I was very much in that
people believe that
belief. Yeah. They're talking about killing like over 200,000 cows in Ireland, I think it is, because of climate change.
Because they fart.
It's literally the idea that their farts produce.
Everyone better sew up your buttholes. Because we outnumber the cows by so much, it's not even funny. Like, what are we talking about here?
But I used to believe that. And it's so, I was so in that, like it is such a, I feel like I used to be more of like a social justice warrior, and not that I'm not anymore. I just feel like we focus on the wrong things. And it's just funny. Like if you look at how much pesticides are used, like, oh, that doesn't.
How about how many rabbits, squirrels, groundhogs, every little creature that lives and eats those fucking vegetables dies when you harvest them. They fucking murder animals the whole time that they're making those plants for you to eat.
Well, and I will say too, I feel more connected to my food now that I eat meat. I was eating because even though I was vegetarian, I was still in the fitness world, right? Like strength training, all that. And protein was still a goal of mine to hit a high protein diet, but I was doing it with the fake meats and, a bunch of just unnatural food. And now that I'm not a vegetarian, I feel more connected to my food. Like I'm not just eating processed foods that aren't real. I'm eating real foods, I connect with that. Like this is the tissue of this animal, so it's just funny again, like we're so it's so
imagine if we went like one step further and had to hunt that animal, how much more appreciative you would be of the animal. Like
I saw this,
like we were made to do that, right?
I saw this. What a thought.
Crazy.
I saw this interesting video of this indigenous man talking about how veganism and vegetarian is a form of colonialism. And I really liked that because he made some
100%
really good points. He's like, you can only be vegetarian in cities. Cities are very disconnected from
privileged
the land.
cities. I like to throw that asterisk on there because all these problems that we deal with in America are from privilege or not from being anything else. It's from being too fucking gifted and having too much given to us.
Yeah.
Like we don't struggle or suffer for anything.
I saw after I started eating poultry. So after 16 years, I started eating chicken and turkey, and I started feeling better. And then about a year after that, I started eating red meat. And after that, I was like, it was a game changer. My mental health improved a lot. My hormones healed. I'm still working on them a little bit, but they healed a lot. Um, my energy, my performance, my body, like you can look back on pictures of me, and I was strong, I was strong and I was fit, but I look so inflamed. Like my whole body just looks, you can see the inflammation. And yeah, I will never go back to being vegetarian. And I don't, it's so funny. I was so about it, like I was one of those people that would argue with you. Yes, it does like help the climate. And like,
I would
I
have
was
hated
that
you.
person. You would have. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I,
told somebody that yesterday. They're like, "How do you deal with clients if they do this X, Y, or Z?" And I was go, "Look, I will never fucking work with a vegetarian or a vegan. So just draw the boundary wherever you want. It's your business."
yeah. I think if you're going, I respect it because I was that,
Well, and
but
you can do whatever you want. I don't care, but I'm not
I,
going to help
s-
you.
yeah, I just think if you're going to be vegetarian, vegan, if you're not taking some essential amino acid supplement, your mental health, you have to know that your
Or some
mental health,
steroids.
yeah, I mean, there's really no way to do unless you just want to eat, like, even I don't think eating plants all day every day is healthy,
So,
that
have
was
you heard
something.
what the carnivore people say about what plants have as a
Yes,
natural
yes, yes,
defense
yes, yeah,
mechanism?
I
As
follow
someone
Paul
who ate fucking
Saladino,
plants
and
all the time, and you're talking about inflammation, do you think that there's some
that
validity
was
to
that
that?
was going to be my next point. Was it wasn't until I started eating meat that I became really aware of the vegetables that were not sitting well. Um, like things that made me gassy, things that made me bloated. Yeah, I didn't realize that because it was again so normal. Um, so yeah, I don't like I eat relatively carnivore based, but I'm still not like eat no vegetables ever, like I just personally there's a lot of vegetables I really don't eat anymore, and it's I just
I will
eat like
die on that hill. Don't fucking eat any vegetables. It's a waste of space. I haven't done it in a decade, and I'm fine.
No broccoli. No broccoli for Alex.
Fuck no.
that
What?
was
Like,
one that makes me, yeah.
so check this out. Do you realize that cellulose is not digestible?
Correct.
Okay, what makes up plant matter?
No so's.
Okay, so if we can't digest it, what is it doing? It works as fiber, right? How do you digest cellulose? Well, you either ground it up to the point where it's like powder, or you steam it. I don't want either of those fucking things. That sounds terrible. Like I'm good.
You want to steam your
So I'm not
veggies?
getting any nutrients out of anything that is good for you, allegedly. And then people think I'm
Well,
fucking crazy for eating a steak
yeah,
every day.
I know, right? I think because I'm not that person that's like, don't eat
No, I know.
vegetables. But I think another way that has helped me explain it is just be like, look, I 100% believe a high protein diet is best for the majority of 98% of the people, right? Like, I feel like it's very rare that you'll have someone that shouldn't be the case. But the way I explain it is if you're eating a high protein diet, vegetables are they're kind of a waste of calories in a sense, in my opinion. Like if your goal is to eat 200 grams of protein a day, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm a big person. That's a lot for a woman, but if my goal is to eat roughly
Not
200
for
grams,
performance,
then
it's not.
yeah, but
That's
I
what
try
I
to
have
get
120-pound women eat is 200 grams of protein a day.
200 grams. Dang.
If you want to
I
perform at a high level and have lean tissue, you don't get a
Yeah,
choice. So
yeah,
protein is the only thing in your body that your body will not store. So
right.
even if you have too much of it, you're going to use those aminos for something else. Like,
Yeah, and you can convert it to carbs if your body needs.
well, like you can use BCAAs for muscle contraction. So if you need something to contract the muscle and there's no more glycogen, your body will gladly break down free protein that's in your body and use those BCAAs for a muscle contraction. Like
Yeah.
that's just how it is. So
Well,
what happens is if you have aminos missing in different areas of your body, you're either breaking down protein you ingest to refill those aminos or you're breaking down muscle tissue. There is no in between. So like when people say aminos don't do anything as a supplement, bull fucking shit. If you have free floating aminos in your body, you can now take your complete proteins and rebuild tissue with them because they're already complete. Like your body works off of efficiency. So if something is already there that it can use, it's going to use it. If it has to go through an extra step to make it into something else, less than likely that's probably not going to happen unless you have an abundance.
I think it's really hard to get people to see that performance aspect. Like, unless someone innately has that passion for performance, if someone's just your classic like weight loss client, they're like, I don't care to eat 200 grams of protein because I don't care about performance. I just want to lose weight, you know? But again, there's so many backwards things. Like,
I think they're looking at it through the wrong lens, right? Because at the base of losing weight is better performance
and lean muscle mass.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but it all comes back to performance. Like, your quality of life is based on how well your body can perform. As simple as that.
It's so sad that we see so many people, and you know, you guys maybe have that male perspective a little bit more, but I work with a lot of women who their goal, and I was like that, their goal is to get small. Like, they don't care about performance, they don't care about, you know, and it really is heartbreaking. But back to my point about the protein in vegetables, it's like it is a waste of calories in a way to eat. If you're eating 200 grams of protein and you're going to eat a salad before you even start to eat your protein source, or maybe you have your protein on it, but it's still like your main focus should be the protein. And so stop filling up your stomach. 200 grams of protein is a lot of food. You know, you're going to be full. And so stop filling up your stomach with stuff that isn't really even going to be that helpful in terms of performance.
You don't have regular bowel movement, so you might need some green leafy vegetables.
Yeah, I still eat.
That is what it's really good for.
Cucumber, zucchini. There's some vegetables that don't have those kind of bloating, inflammatory effects of the body. Like, what else?
Well, but that's what I heard a reason was for salad before dinner was to actually clean out your intestine for the next stuff that you're about to eat. Like, that makes sense. I can go with that. Like, what other reason would you be using it for? Because you're not digesting it.
That's what animals do. If they're having digestion issues, they'll go out and eat grass.
That's what I mean. So, like, if you're eating a salad before dinner, I think that comes from like, oh, hey, we need to have something to push this shit through our intestine, and then we can eat another meal.
But why do you even need that? Like, if you're eating,
I don't know that you need it. I'm just saying I think that's where it stems from.
Okay.
You're talking to the wrong person. I don't eat salads. I don't eat vegetables. I will post my meals on Instagram and people are like, where are your veggies? I'm like, those take up too much fucking space. I need more protein.
That's kind of what I mean. Like, the vegetables can take up a lot of space, and it's not, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're not getting to that protein intake if you're eating that many vegetables. It's not going to happen.
It's funny. If people heard this conversation, they'd be like, what are these people talking about? Like, of course you need vegetables, you know?
I hope they do hear it for like the next 20 years. And
I have people in my gym like that
on YouTube.
I have people in my gym.
They think we're going to die in 20 years.
Angela, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, Angela. You don't need greens. You don't need them, Angela. I'm talking to you.
Angela.
You can have them if you want them. Like, if you want to have some color on your plate, go for it. I don't care, but
don't leave me alone. Keep me out.
Don't tell me that my 12 to 16 ounce steaks every day are bad for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep me out. Just making me jacked as fuck.
No broccoli for me. Tell my wife that too.
Broccoli's terrible.
What?
We're going to make good parents though, right? All our kids are like, yes.
Yeah, we're creating rebels. That's what's going to happen. We're going to make the rebels for the next revolution. That's what's happening. Making soldiers.
I've got one in the process right now. She's
super soldiers.
4-month-old rebel already. Here we go.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. No vegetables for him.
You better make that girl strong as shit, Nathan.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do to give her a good life.
Well, she already...
Little girl?
Yeah, very strong, healthy, chunky baby already. We love it.
Don't treat her like a princess like every other parent does.
Heck no. Heck no.
Girls get such a disservice by being babied their entire lives.
Well, she's coming to the gym 3 times a week with me. So it's like, we're already at the gym. So sorry about you.
That's a good start. Just don't let her wrap you around her finger. You have to be the disciplinary.
Well, yeah, duh.
Oh, well, tell every other dad that in America who doesn't.
I'm not every other dad. I'm not a softie.
You know how many dads I see that are just, oh God. I'm like, no, you have to discipline these kids. Nobody else is ever going to. Like, you're going to make shitty humans if they don't understand that there's consequences to things.
Absolutely. The power of no.
Like, it's so normal. You should come hang out here in Boulder and see these kids.
No, it drives me nuts. We were talking about the issue of toys the other day at like birthday parties and stuff, and I was like, I can't handle this. Like, all these toys and all this stuff that's just going to go to waste.
Throw it all away.
Yeah, like, just how about like one gift? Just one good gift.
How about no gifts? How about you earn something?
They're alive.
That doesn't mean, yeah, that's their
the
gift.
gift.
That's
Yeah.
their gift.
Exactly.
Your gift of life.
Speaking of which, isn't that like the most ridiculous thing that we get brought into this world by somebody else? It's not even our fucking choice. Like, hey, here
Or
you
maybe
go.
it is.
Welcome.
Maybe it is our choice.
Maybe if you believe in reincarnation, you get to pick and choose the body you go into, but I don't think we get a choice to be here or not.
You don't think so?
Fuck no.
I think we've already
Really?
been. I'm not going into this, but whatever.
I want you to go in it.
Do it.
We
Do
It's
said
already
we'd
planned
get down the
out.
rabbit hole.
Well, it's already planned
Oh.
out. Like I think that like
Somebody has a script written somewhere, just like the NFL.
well, if you
Or
believe
Aaron Rodgers.
if you believe that God is
Can't believe we went along
omnipotent,
with
then
that.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's crazy. But if you believe that if God
Wait,
is
hold on. It's crazy that the NFL is scripted, but it's
No.
not crazy
No, I
that
believe
life is
that.
scripted.
I believe the NFL is scripted. Hold on.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I was literally talking to my buddy about this before we came on the podcast. So no, I believe it's scripted. 1000%.
Those would be the best actors ever. There's no way. Those guys are. I've met a lot of football players. They're dumb as fuck, bro. They're not that. No.
Maybe they're just oblivious to the script then.
Okay.
True, it's true. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's funny to speculate though, because the NFL is all
Well,
about
sure.
money. They don't really care about anything else. So
What
Who's to-
business does?
who's to say it wouldn't be scripted? You know.
What business doesn't care about anything but money?
True. Very true.
Do you think the NCAA is like better than the NFL? I actually think the NCAA is way more heinous than the NFL is.
Oh yeah, 1000%.
They pimped those kids out for how long?
A friend of mine
Decades.
he's a basketball coach here in high school, and he was telling me that if you sign a national letter of intent now, and if you live in Missouri and you sign to play somewhere else in a different state, you can't get paid for name, image, and likeness. If you sign with a school in state, you can still get paid for while you're in high school, like while you're still in high school. So like
I don't believe that's how the NIL works, so I don't think so.
that's in our bylaws at the like Misha state level, I think is what he was saying. Like, cause he had an athletic director.
These
Anyway.
kids are getting paid from NIL deals. They're not getting paid from.
But you
anything else.
can't accept that money or you lose your eligibility unless you sign with a Missouri school if you live in Missouri. If you go sign with Texas, you can lose your eligibility if you take money from these name, image, and likeness deals. That's what he was trying to tell me. I was like, whoa.
I don't think that would make it as successful as it is, and you would have all these people transferring.
That or you just don't declare.
What do you mean? No, Shador wouldn't be getting paid.
No, but he's already in college is what I'm saying. This is like when you're at high school. Like you can't. I don't know.
So
Maybe it's
Missouri's
just a
trying to
Missouri
make it
thing.
so that the high school kids can't choose to go out of state. Is what
It sounds like, yeah, they're trying to keep their talent in state. But anyway, sorry, sidetracked.
you're fucking communists.
Everything's communism.
Trying to well, yeah. If you try to control people, leave the fucking free market alone. It'll figure it out. It's crazy. Like people are pretty good at deciding on their own what they want and don't want.
Are they?
Well, they're not
That's
actually,
the
or
real
our government
question,
wouldn't
yeah.
exist at the level it does. So
No, the government
You have
exists
people
because they've
deciding-
learned that the thing in your fucking living room will program anybody to do whatever the fuck you want.
yeah, that's a fact.
Before that, people were pretty good at making decisions on their own.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Yep.
No, they fell into the propaganda machine. But how many people don't watch TV anymore?
I don't.
More than ever.
Yeah,
Mm.
I don't watch TV.
Like this is a paradigm shift is what we're experiencing, and that's why the old people are grasping on to every last thing that they can hold on to because they don't want to give it up. Like
Definitely. Yeah.
they
I
fucked
believe
up
that.
by giving us the internet and didn't know that this was going to happen
How? How did they not have the foresight to see that?
because they didn't think that technology would grow exponentially like it has.
It
They couldn't
did
have
grow
predicted that.
exponentially. What are you talking about?
Yeah, how could you have predicted that, Nathan? Do you know what exponentially means? That means it starts like this, and now we're up here on the fucking thing. Like we've hit that parabola, and now we're ascending so fast that they had no idea that any of this would happen.
How?
Look, they're so fucking
I just-
stupid. They still run the world the same way, and they don't think that we know.
Oh, that's crazy that you didn't have that kind of foresight.
Not really. It's the same as like you don't understand the lingo that kids use these days or anything that they think is cool. You get old and don't care. It doesn't pertain to your reality.
You're right. I don't
Like-
care about what these kids talk about. They're a
No,
bunch of
and
weirdos.
that's what they did. They're like, oh, we're going to use this for our benefit. And little did they know that it'd be incriminating them 20, 30 years later, basing all the shit that, now everybody can see this.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
Like they don't get it that the internet doesn't go away. Like they can't grasp that concept that it doesn't disappear.
Mm-mm.
Well, there's you know how the World Economic Forum will do like what is it? They'll host kind of like simulations, if you've seen this, They did this
Oh,
with
you mean like the
COVID.
COVID one they had at the Johns Hopkins University 2 years
Yeah,
before COVID happened?
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. So there's another one that they're like doing, or I think they already did do, was about how there's going to be
Internet
a
skin?
virus. Yeah, there's like a virus that attacks.
Or are you talking about the global warming one that they probably had? Because that's their next thing.
Oh, I'm talking about the one that's supposed to like shut down the grid, of like the
Well, that'll
internet.
be cool because everybody will have electric cars by then and they'll be real fucked.
Is that the one where the lady was talking about like taking away your rights and like you
Well, they're
can't
taking away everything.
like there should be one person to organize and
Yeah.
set all the laws and I'm like
We,
no.
we
Yeah,
pay $425,000 a month to be a part of that organization.
Oh wow. What do you mean we though? Like
The
the
United States of
United
America,
States.
Mr. Joe
States?
Biden
Okay.
himself is in
Yeah.
it,
hmm
along with
Yeah.
Justin Trudeau
Yeah.
and all the other fucking communists.
Right. Yeah, that Great Awakening documentary talks about the World Economic Forum and like the guy who runs it, what is it, like Strauss?
Klaus
What is that?
Schwab.
Was that his name?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
The
yeah.
most evil fucking his
His
dad only
like
ran a concentration camp, but
exactly.
no, we'll
That
look
was
the other way.
that was my next point. Yeah.
Also, it was founded the same year that we came off the gold standard, coincidentally. So
Hmm.
do with that what you will.
Hey.
Because you know how you have total control of the world? First, you control the resources, then you control the money, then you control the people.
It's all in the Bible, man.
Or actually, I think it goes money, resources, people, but
It's all biblical. You can read about this stuff, believe it or
it's not
not.
biblical, Nathan. It's called fucking human nature, and we've always done this.
I'm just saying, it's all
We're
biblical.
greedy
What's the
fucking
difference
people.
though, right? What's the difference?
It's in there.
History repeats itself, and it happens so far in between that we forget.
It's been prophesized about. It's been talked about for a long time.
It is interesting to see like what is coming to fruition with
Yep.
these prophecies.
We're just
Mhm.
in the same cycles over and over. It's like your life. If you can't figure out the problem, you will keep making the same fucking mistake over and over. We as a collective unit do the same fucking thing.
You guys are talking about the same thing, I feel like. And that's why it's funny to
It
hear
is.
you guys.
Just
'cause you guys
different
are saying-
perspectives. Yeah. Yep.
It's exactly the same thing.
That's
but
cool.
like that's exactly how this works. Is it's just different. Like so we're in the middle of the greatest dynasty that we're aware of falling because we're too privileged.
Yeah.
And it has to because none of them can last more than 200 years.
We're the Romans, baby.
Like no great civilizations made it over 200 years. And is that a coincidence?
Rome did.
I don't think it did.
I mean, it did.
Just about.
Not
just
to, if
the-
you're talking about its peak, then yeah, it
Yeah,
definitely.
you're talking about dominating the world. Nobody's
Ooh.
dominating the world for more than 200 years, bro. It ain't
Yeah.
happening.
Rome was right around that time period. Yeah.
Genghis Khan might have.
He would have if he hadn't. Yeah. Well,
I mean, he's still 1% of the world, bro.
that's so
Yeah,
crazy.
It's true.
Oh, that man.
I think he wins the game if we're gonna go down that route.
The Mongols.
I don't think anyone's ever had, streets filled with so much blood and guts that there's a film over them and there's mountains of bones that look like actual mountains off in the distance.
Yeah.
And you're talking about people that rode on horseback, shooting bow and arrows that had 160-pound pull on them.
Yep.
Fucking people today can't
Those are
even move
warriors,
160
yeah.
pound,
That
let
was
alone
just-
sit on the back of a horse and shoot people with it.
Yeah.
I think about this a lot for some reason. So I don't really like running. But there's a certain point where I get to that like flow kind of runner's high, and then I like it, but the act of it is not something I love. But specifically while I'm running, I feel so connected to my ancestors. This is like I feel how primal running is and how every culture has used that. But my brain then goes to like, I feel like I never want to disappoint my ancestors. I do not want to be the weak link in this very strong, I'm half
Fuck,
African.
I wish everyone thought like that.
I think like that a lot, and I don't really get how other people don't. I'm like, that like you could be like the weakest piece in your ancestry. Like you're sitting on your TV, on the couch, like eating chips. Like they fought some serious, even if it was the battle that they fought was walking however many miles for water. Like even if they weren't in a war,
Mhm.
like that's
Yeah, there's a lot of
still-
people that sacrificed a lot for us to be here, and we're just pissing it down the drain left and right.
we don't even think about it. We
No.
don't-
I don't know. Because we don't even know what
Yeah.
it's like to not have fucking a TV.
Yeah, we don't suffer anymore. There's no suffrage. Like, we don't suffer for anything.
Motherfucker, I suffer every day.
Well, that's different.
Like, I was thinking about this week. I'm like, I wonder how many people on Instagram think I love waking up at 3:30 in the morning to go work out. Because I absolutely fucking hate it. I don't like it at all. It's not fun.
I don't like waking up at 4 a.m., but I do it.
Right.
I do it. Because I know it will make me better. Believe it or not, people.
because we're so comfortable, we have to seek out discomfort to grow.
I hate getting into that place. Yeah.
It's such a fine line because, as someone who's interested in psychology and mental health and someone who gets frustrated with the fitness industry for like completely overlooking mental health, it's such a fine line because I think that it's so important to explore your emotions, to explore your feelings, to deal with them, but that also doesn't. I think it's important. I think it's important.
There's no such thing as feelings. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Toxic masculinity only.
You're talking to the wrong guy about feelings. Hang on. Whoa.
What the fuck ever.
I'll bring the womanly touch here. But it is such a fine line of like, how do you, and this is something I have to ask myself a lot, is like, how do you deal with your emotions while still, like, in a sense, not letting your emotions dictate what you do? Like, how can you still show up? And
how do you deal with them logically? Is that what you're asking?
It's just a balance that I'm constantly asking myself. But I don't think
like it goes with that ego thing. When you can stomp the ego down, no longer does it become a you thing. It just becomes a problem. How do you fix a problem? Because it has nothing to do with you personally. It's just a problem that you're experiencing.
Well, that's one theory, but then you're like, oh, I'm feeling this way because when I was, maybe this is just me, when I was a kid, my mom, whatever,
Well, there could be that could explain to you why the problem is occurring.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I mean. I think it's important to.
I think the problem is when people do that and they justify that as okay to have that feeling. It's like, I don't know. I don't know that you just get to be fucking sad. Like, knock that shit off. Like, you can acknowledge it and then go, okay, why am I sad? Okay, is that a justifiable reason to be sad? No. Okay, moving on.
That's not how I
ones and zeros.
But exactly. Yeah, this guy, yeah.
He's a ones and zero guy. Exactly. It's very simple with Alex.
It is, yeah.
Well, I mean,
no, I always think there's so many layers is where I come from.
Like an onion?
It's like, yes. And just
okay,
like an onion, you gotta cry. You gotta cry when you're dealing with the onion.
Like a cake?
Why I like simplicity. I just like quoting Shrek.
Yeah, I mean, we all have such a different relationship with our emotions too. Like, you just kind of tough them out and do.
I don't tough them out. I process them. I sit there and feel them. It's just like I'm not letting them dictate what I'm going to be doing that day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Like, but
that I have a goal, and to get to that goal, there are things that have to be done. There is no like wishing that it's going to get done. It's like, no, this has to get done.
But sometimes it's more productive to stop and deal with your emotions than to keep pushing forward for a little bit, in my opinion.
Well, sure, I could see that being a thing. That's usually when I just take a nap. When I wake up and my emotions are fine. They're like, all right, let's get back to work.
He's like an animal. If you feed him and you pet him a little bit and you give him some sleep.
Exactly.
He's good. He's really good for about 7 hours and then
probably 12.
Reset.
About a 12-hour span.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
It's good
really
for you.
That animalistic. It's like when I did DMT, I figured out I just drive around this meat vehicle. That's all I'm doing. I'm not the meat vehicle. I'm in the meat vehicle, piloting it, whatever I am, which is just a ball of energy, I think.
Could be.
Well, I mean, we can't explain consciousness.
You're a soul.
Thing that makes
you have a soul.
That's what I mean. That's consciousness. It's the same thing. It's all energy.
Yeah.
Driving around the meat vehicle.
That's a good way to look at it.
The blessed meat vehicle.
How do you think I figured out how the body works? I started treating it like a fucking biological vehicle instead of like this emotional thing that everybody thinks it is. Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, it's a fucking biological machine. Just treat it like a goddamn machine and it'll work better. And then your brain will be able to function at a higher level and you'll be able to process the things that seem so complex and hurtful.
I treat what I started doing is treating my body like a child, in a sense, where, like, in my opinion, I think most children love, like, innately, they love to run, they love to play, they love to jump, they love to go on the monkey bars. Like, to me, working out should feel similar to that. Like, if you don't have that relationship with working out, it's probably not going to last long.
Nope.
I know that
I
you
don't
know,
have that at all.
I enjoy it. And I think that's part of, like, focusing on skills, or, focusing on things that make you feel like it's more fun, rather than just this, like, let's squat, let's deadlift.
If I'm not doing something that's going to help me dominate my competition, I don't care.
Just different approaches.
Yeah,
But
I'm trying
I
to
started,
survive the wilderness over here, and you're just fucking lollygagging around all do like we're having a good time.
whatever. I'm both. We've talked about this, Alex and I.
We'll see.
I can be a savage warrior when I need, but
You
I
could be.
really love that
You choose not to
saying.
be.
It's better to be a warrior in a garden than
Yeah.
a gardener in a war.
Of course.
And that's what I choose.
To be the gardener, yeah.
Yeah.
We know.
Oh, well, sometimes, and then when I need to be the warrior, I can be. But I love that saying. I think it's really important to live by. But also, back to my thought was learning how to treat myself like a child was a game changer. Like, I think this is helpful for parents. I explain this to parents. It's like, I wouldn't have a child and be like, yeah, you can just eat whatever, like, that's irresponsible. But if you're also like, you can never eat treats, like, and just super disciplined with their child 24/7, that's in my opinion, poor parenting too. It's like a balance of discipline, tough love, and also, like, let the child play, like, learn to play, learn to enjoy the treats, learn to do all these things. And that really helped me a lot with my own relationship to myself.
Healthy balance. I like that.
Nathan, do you treat yourself like a child?
I don't know how to respond to that question. Treat myself like a child. I don't know.
It's like, in psychology they call it reparenting, and that's like the application of it. So you're
reparenting,
always
yeah.
like if you see yourself, like,
I do that every time I want to be a lazy fuck.
exactly. If you see yourself doing something, you have to be the one to parent yourself.
Yeah.
But it also goes into, like, you can't be super strict and rigid all the time. That's abuse, right?
Exhibit A. I give you Exhibit A.
I don't know if I call it abuse. It makes me way better, because every time I want to be lazy, I'm like, hey, bitch, quit being lazy. You just want to be efficient. It's okay. You can
But
put in a
if
little
I
bit
had
of
a
work.
partner that was like, hey, bitch, I'd be like, that's verbal
Well,
abuse.
obviously, I wouldn't talk to other people that way.
But you
I
talk to
just talk to
yourself
myself that way because you know
Yeah.
I can handle it.
Well, it's not abuse if you do it to yourself.
That's just
Well,
that's
because
good.
it's
That's
not
coaching, right?
I don't give myself the power to let words mean that much. They're just fucking noises we make with our mouth. Like, people all over the world make different ones. There's like you're an anthropologist, right? There's like 5,000 languages.
Not really, but
Well, you've taken a course, and you
Yeah.
know how many languages there are. There's a fuck ton of them. So how am I supposed to believe that the ones that I make with these specific sounds are the most important ones and hold all this power that we give them?
This man's
wait,
they
it's
hold
that
a lot
last
of
part.
power,
We
though.
give it the power that they have.
this man's brain
Exactly.
needs to be examined after he deceases himself.
Dude, it's probably the fucking 2 head traumas I had between 1 and 2,
Oh,
or 0 to 2.
Damn, yeah, that's young to have that.
Yeah,
ouch.
I fractured my skull twice.
Oh,
And
wow.
I display all of the things that people that have head trauma do, like impulsive behavior, high risk taking, all those fun things.
but you're enjoying the ride.
Oh, I fucking think it's great.
Yeah.
I
There
would hate to be a fucking normal person who's
There
just
is
a giant pussy and too
no one
scared to
like
try anything.
Alex Lewis. There's no one on this planet like Alex Lewis.
There's only one of me.
That's right.
What does
The
Dion
one
say?
and the
You
only.
ain't make me, so you can't break me.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, guys, we're almost going on 2 hours here. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to input into the
This is the best podcast we've ever done.
podcast? This is a
I
good
love
one.
it.
This is great.
I love your guys' differences there,
I
because I do feel like you say similar things, but you both have.
Say the same
I
shit
would
in
say
different
Alex
ways.
is a little more extreme, but
You don't say I'm the extra one. Who would have thought? Hey, everyone, I'm extra. Did
You're
you guys
just-
know?
You're the checks
You know,
without the sugar on it. I'm the checks with the
I'm
little
learning the
sprinkle
new
of
lingo,
sugar.
so I'd rather be extra than mid. Okay, so I'll take being extra.
but you got to be careful because it's like that loudness we were talking about too, right?
I'm not boisterous about it. I just don't give a fuck. I know I have crazy ideas. I'm aware. I don't get crazy results by having normal ideas.
I think that's why people ask me how we met so many times, because they look at me and then they look at you and then they hear us talk and
Like,
they're
why?
like, "What?" But It's a different
Yin
dynamic.
and yang. That's how that works.
Yeah, I need different dynamics in my life. I don't want yes men in my life.
If you guys would have seen how big of a pussy Nathan was before we started working together, he would have never even done this podcast.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you do. Don't lie.
Simmer down. I wouldn't go that far.
You think you would have done a podcast? Come on.
I mean, I streamed. I used to stream. I was a gamer. I put myself in front of people and streamed all the time. So yeah, probably.
That's having a topic.
Alex just wants some credit here.
I don't want credit. I'm just saying Nathan was not such a pussy because I don't let him be a pussy. That's all.
Well, I mean, you've helped me grow as a human being. That's the nicer way to say it, buddy.
Yeah, I don't let you be a pussy. Same difference. Like, I expect more out of you.
I wouldn't say I was that to begin with, but sure, if that's where you want to go, sure.
Oh, the guy that took the safe job, teaching the kids, doing the safe route, didn't want to do the jump in head first. Come on.
That's just what I thought I was supposed to do.
Yeah, you were conditioned to be a sissy.
I changed my career path, and then what do you know? Look at me go.
Yeah, now you know how to bet on yourself.
That's right, baby.
Like Kirk Cousins. Man,
I mean, I bet on myself before I met you, though. I went to that internship for 3 months. I quit my job. Quit my job and went to an unpaid internship for 3 months. I wouldn't say that I was
there.
Yeah, it's all part of it, right?
Yeah.
It's all a journey.
I know. I'm used to it. It's fine. Well, I have to split, unfortunately, but Rachel, thank you so much for coming on. I've had a blast. I know Alex has had a blast. So
it was mid.
It was mid.
All right.
You just said best podcast ever. You literally said those words. That's
because nobody's gonna make it this far, so they don't know if I contradict myself.
That's not true. My gym people are committed.
My MO is if it's funny, I'll say anything for the sake of comedy.
Just commuted. We have Egypt on our side, Alex. We can do anything.
I mean, I want to see the pyramids, so somebody pay me to come train them in Egypt, and I'll be there.
Yeah, right? Shout out.
I'm half Northern African. That's my home.
Oh, really?
I am.
I'm so fucking European. It's not even funny.
Same.
The other half of me is European.
I don't have anything but European in me.
Same. Very much so the same.
Well, thank you both. I appreciate it. It was just a good time.
Yeah. We'll have to have you back on another time for sure.
Thanks for all the good sound clips about how much being a vegetarian sucks. I can't wait to make these.
I knew that's what was going to happen. I was like, as soon as I was thinking about it.
Like,
you're
this
welcome.
Is
yeah. No,
gold.
I stand by it. I will stand by it. I get that mindset. I was there, but wouldn't do it again.
Good for you.
Live and you learn. That's my motto. You live and you learn.
Well, awesome. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Hopefully I wasn't too extra, but
never.
Good luck.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you were pretty extra.
Got a role to fill,
That's right.
Keep the expectations high. Wait till this actually gets popular, then I'll have to be extra.
Oh gosh.
There's more. Yeah.
People are gonna be like,
there is more. This is only like 25% of it.
Yeah, you're gonna be having.
I feel like I keep a pretty tight lip most of the time.
You're gonna be the next Andrew Tate, and everyone's just gonna be like, toxic.
Oh yeah, I'm toxic as fuck. Sure. If that means awesome, then yeah, I'm that. I'm the most toxic person ever because that's usually what it associates with me. Anything they say is toxic is usually something awesome. Like being strong, eating dead animals, like all those things are good. Standing up for yourself. I don't know. Should all not do any of these things, right? Docile little followers.
You're a far-right extremist. That's what you are.
Well, I'm pretty much a white supremacist, I'm sure, if they tell me that, but I'm not even white, so
that's a good clip right there.
I don't even understand. Well, I'm fucking Portuguese, so I don't know how I could be a white supremacist, but
well, you're white skinned. Everything has to do with your skin.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely light in complexion.
Yeah.
3 months out of the year, I'm
let's make
brown.
Everything about race. I like that.
Well, that's the least racist thing to do, duh.
Oh yeah. I know
how that works.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's good to just keep pointing it out as much as you can.
Yeah, because that's not racist at all.
No, at all.
That's like that's how racist people are in Boulder. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know this black guy," and it's like, does it matter that he's black? Could he have a name? Like, there's other ways you could describe people. Like, I don't know, but yeah, they don't get it around here.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys. It's been fun.
All right.
It's been real.
Have a great day, everyone.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.